scramble excited from Wong. There's a field for RBW. Gibbon caught behind. Laura Goodall's walking off. And England have managed to take one in this mini session.
It's Wong. Runs into clapping from the crowd behind her. Outside the off stump and caught it, Gully! The wicket for England. It's Laura Woolfart. And just listen to those cheers.
Wickets might be for England in the little mini evening session, as Stefan described it. It was so important that they could get the breakthroughs with the clouds overhead and the pressure to ensure they can force themselves into position to win this test match. Hello and welcome to the final day of the one-off test between England and South Africa, live from Taunton, where at the moment we have sunny skies. There are some clouds overhead, but the ground is bathed in sunshine. And though there is a little bit of worry in terms of the forecast this afternoon, we will have a start on time and plenty of cricket to bring you here on 5 Sports Extra, Radio 4 Longwave and across BBC Sounds as well. South Africa 55 for 3 overnight. They still trail by 78 runs, but the big wicket, Laura Woolfart, out for a fine delivery from Izzy Wong, caught in the gully, and that has put England really on the front foot. We'll see a resumption in about 15 minutes or so with Sule Lees and Tumi Sekakune, night watchman, out in the middle. 55 for 3 is the score. A very good morning to Georgia Elwys and Alex Hartley, World Cup winners in 2017. Alex, what are we expecting today?
Well, hopefully the rain stays away, but the weather forecast isn't looking good, so I think what we are expecting is England to come out and be aggressive to try and force a result in this game.
That's got to be the way, isn't it, George? But I suppose the risk is always don't look too much to try and make every ball a wicket-taking ball.
Yeah, absolutely. They're going to need to find that balance. I think we'll see a lot of Sophie Eccleston today, which I think will be a real threat for England. We've seen some indifferent bounce over the last couple of days and a few balls from the South African spinner turn, so I'm really looking forward to watching her bowl this morning. I think she will be the key for England.
Izzy Wong on debut has really impressed. She seemed to have real fire as she was running it last night.
Yeah, she's a great character, isn't she? She's always smiling, she's always having a laugh. She looks like she's having the time of her life out there, and you can't get the ball out of her hand. She's always wanting to bowl. She's wanting to be the one who takes those wickets, who makes something happen in a game. And I think, you can't teach that, you can't coach that. So what she's got is something really special, and England are just finding ways to unleash it here.
What have you made of the England bowling attack without Shrubsole and Brunt? Do you think they've got it in them, Alex, to take these wickets on this final day?
Yeah, they've been brilliant, haven't they? I went into this test match a little bit worried that there was no Brunt and Shrubsole, but actually watching Wong, Bell, Cross take the new ball, you feel like they could get a wicket at any moment, and I hate to say it, but they haven't really missed Brunt and Shrubsole, which is exciting for English cricket, because the two debutants that are leading this seam attack, they're threatening.
Yeah, they are. In terms of what England will be looking to do first up, Georgia, this morning, first job, of course, is to, you'd have thought, try and dislodge this partnership and probably Tumi Sekakune, get rid of that overnight sort of frustration, if you like, and then the big wicket of Marizanne Kapp.
Yeah, there is still some resistance in this South African batting lineup. We know how good Marizanne Kapp is, 150 in the first innings, but she will be tired. She's got a big job for her team today, and she's got Sune Lees at the other end, who we know can also bat. So this South African batting lineup, I've still got some good players to come, and they will provide some resistance.
Yeah, you'd have thought so. Kapp is thought the big threat for England to try and just break through that particular obstacle will make a huge difference to this England side, no question about that. The forecast is a little bit mixed this afternoon. Expect maybe there'll be a shower or two. We just got to hope we get a little bit lucky and avoid the worst of it, and fingers crossed we'll see plenty of play. We can have as many as 109 overs today, which should be good fun if we get that much, or indeed if we need that much, we will have to wait and see. Well, I mentioned Izzy Wong. She took 2 wickets at the back end of the day yesterday, 2 vital wickets as well for England to really put the pressure on this South African side, and I spoke to her at the close of play to get her thoughts of how the day had gone. Izzy, it looked like a lot of fun out there. How much are you enjoying playing international cricket?
It's great, isn't it? I've really enjoyed it. Last 3 days now, it blows my mind that we're still in the same game we were 2 days ago, but it was really good fun there. Obviously a bit of frustration with the weather around today, and I think we're all itching to get on, so I think once we got on there for the last 13 overs there, we're really keen to make an impact on the game.
What was Heather Knight's message to you? What was your instruction with the ball?
I can't remember. I think just trying to, I guess, be boring has been the message this week. Just trying to bowl my best ball as many times as possible. It's probably been a theme, so I guess it was something like that, yeah.
Being an England cricketer is something not many people get to do. Being an England Test cricketer is a real rare privilege. How's it been this week?
Isn't that the question everybody wants to get asked? It's been amazing. Completely out of the blue for me. But yeah, I'm absolutely loving it. I kind of pinch myself sometimes. I look down, I'm like, I'm in whites, and I'm playing for England. How cool was that? But no, it's been really good. And yeah, I think focus now is definitely on the game and trying to push for that win, weather permitting.
What was that moment like when the wickets were falling and the clouds were building in the evening session? It must have been thrilling out there.
A bit atmospheric, isn't it? No, it's good. I think it's ideal conditions really for seamers to come out, and batters have been about all day, and we're relatively fresh and a bit of overcast about. So yeah, no, it was really, really exciting.
Tomorrow feels like a day set up for an England win. What's the feeling in the dressing room? It must be quite positive in there.
I haven't been yet, but yeah, I think we're really looking forward to pushing, and pushing to get those wickets and to get those breakthroughs. We know that it's not gonna come easy because it's Test cricket. It's not meant to be easy, but we're really, I think, excited as a group to put our hands up and win this Test match. Yeah.
Up in the commentary box, you've been described as a big game player, relishing the big occasion. That sound about right?
Like the Divock Origi of women's cricket. Yeah, I'd take that. I think it's probably the moments that you dream of playing in when you're 9-10 years old, and you look at Catherine Brunt running in for England and taking wickets in Ashes series. You think, I'd love to do that. And so I think it's always anyone would enjoy those moments, I guess.
She's quite a character, isn't she? Izzy Wong, the Divock Origi of women's cricket.
Do you know what? I love Izzy Wong because she brings this personality to the England team. She's not scared of being herself. She is a big game player and a big character, and it's almost like England need that. They've not got Catherine Brunt. She's missing. She's retired from Test cricket. She almost replaces that personality that Catherine Brunt has.
The smile on her face all throughout chatting to her, you could see what it meant to her, Georgia, being out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Her smile's infectious. Her energy is what she brings to this England side. Is that point of difference, and she charges in and she bowls fast, and you can't help but be happy for her. I know she works incredibly hard, and she said herself it's come out the blue a little bit, and I don't think that's the worst thing, because she's had no real expectations of what to get out of the game, and it just looks like she's having the best time ever.
Yeah, what I like is there's a refreshing honesty there. Yesterday when it was a pre-recorded interview, so nothing live to worry about, and she came over with the England media manager, Hen Cowan, and she said, do you mind if you just give me 30 seconds just so I can give my mates a hug? Before, and I thought, well, fair enough, you've had a special day, I don't mind that at all, you go for it. But she presumably will continue that spell. It seemed to be the spell that was causing more problems for the South African batters.
Yeah, she bowled really nicely, and she was really up for it last night. She had the lights on, and I think that was helping the ball do a little bit more, but she's got that pace and that bounce that troubles the batters, and I like seeing a bowl from this end that we're commentating from, because I think she's getting a little bit more carry, and we saw her bowl some good short balls last night at Sekhukhune, and I think when she does get the ball in her hand, whether she'll open up or not, I'm not sure this morning, but when she does, that she'll be charging in.
What I found really interesting is last night when she was bowling her short sharp spell, she actually was pushing over 70 miles an hour, whereas the day before she was probably about 68, 69. So I don't know whether she's got back in the dressing room the night before and Lisa said, the head coach has said, come on, just put everything you can behind it. We don't mind if you go at 3-4 and over. You're there as our Mark Wood of the team, our fast bowler. You're there to challenge the batters. So she really came out last night and put a bit behind it, and she looked good.
Georgia mentioned Sophie Ecclestone, Alex, someone you know well. What role do you expect her to play today?
I reckon she'll play the role of trying to clean up South Africa. The best bowler in the world, isn't she? White ball, red ball. She is incredible. She's so young. She's got this point of difference because she's so tall, and she bowls like a man. She bowls the pace of a man, and she turns it like a man, and I think that's why she's so different and so good at international cricket, because her action is so repeatable. She gets revs on the ball. She'll really have everybody crowding the bat and just look to contain. She went at 1.2, 1.5 and over in the first innings. And, she'll do that again. But with that, when South Africa are trying to set England a target, they'll have to attack somebody at the other end who will probably take wickets. So although Eccleston will be the main threat, wouldn't surprise me if wickets came from the other end as well.
Well, does South Africa play this, Georgia? Because at the moment the lead England hold is 78 runs, 7 wickets remaining. South Africa, to survive, they can't just try and hang about. If they build a lead, making them bat again, that will in itself take time out of the game.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's their best chance of saving this game. I think they're going to have to break this day down into small chunks. Sune Luce and Sekekuni have got to get through the first hour this morning and then see where they're at from there. The deficit is still 78, I think, so they're going to have to bat till lunch, try and get as close to England's total as they can and then surpass that. But you're right, they need to be batting with intent because that just surviving is so dangerous.
Well, I sat in the South African press conference yesterday evening post play, and it was interesting to hear. I think it was Goodall that was put up, and she was saying we can still draw this test match, so they're not even thinking about winning it. They're going to play for the draw, which you actually fear they'll just sit in and they'll just be waiting to get out. They're not thinking about the win, which, I mean, they can still win from this position if they can get off to a good start, back till lunch, like Elwys said, and set England a total and try and bowl them out. Yes, we haven't got 5 days, we've got 4, but it doesn't mean it's over for South Africa.
Georgia, you know all too well from your effort in North Sydney Oval alongside Heather Knight that to save a game, once you get stuck in and start blocking, it is possible. How do England counteract that if somebody does really start digging in and start blocking?
I think they've got to be patient. Heather Knight's got to be smart with her bowling changes. I think she's got a lot of bowlers at her disposal. We've even got overs from potentially herself, Emma Lamb and Sophia Dunkley, who could come on if they do need a partnership breaking. But I think that it's patience is the key. They know that they're good enough bowlers to take these last 7 wickets, but like you said, if a partnership does form, it is about staying patient, sticking to their plans and just backing themselves and believing that they can.
In an England warm-up game, they had 2 hours to bat Emma Lamb and Tammy Beaumont, and nobody could get them out. So Captain Heather Knight just threw Sophia Dunkley the ball and said, give it a go. And Dunkley got the breakthrough. In her first over, she got the breakthrough. And Emma Lamb couldn't believe she got out to Sophia Dunkley, not because she's a bad bowler, just she's done all the hard work. And then, you got your 5th, 6th, 7th bowler come on and gets out to it. So England have got options.
Let me just bring you up to date with the session times today, because we lost quite a lot of time yesterday, and it's actually a slightly longer first session that we've got. It goes until 1:30, so 11 until 1:30, and then lunch until 2:10, a couple of hours up until 4:10, and then from 4:30 until the minimum 92 overs have been completed. The last hour will then start with 17 overs left. So a total of 109 overs in the day, 9 overs therefore having been added from yesterday. So a long first session, and that actually works quite a lot in England's favour, because the rain, if it comes, will be this afternoon.
Yeah, and I'll see you at midnight when we clock off.
It feels a bit that way, possibly. We'll wait and see. The game is nearly ready to resume, with the 2 umpires, Redfern and Harris, striding to the middle. Behind them, Sune Lees, the South Africa captain, and Tumi Sekekuni, the England team, in a huddle over to the right, getting ready to head to the field, led by their skipper. And here comes the England side. And here, to open the batting for us, we've got Alex, who's staying with us, and also resplendent in the yellow is Stefan Shepard.
Well, is today the day? England haven't won a test match anywhere since 2014, and they've not won one at home since 2005. What an opportunity they've got. South Africa 55 for 3, still looking to wipe out that first innings deficit of 133. And for the moment, it's glorious in Taunton. Sun shining, can see blue sky, some white clouds.
It's warm out there as well. I've been for a lovely walk.
You were here very early.
I got here at 9:15. I wanted to feel the build-up and watch England train.
The atmosphere. And
it's a total lie. I went for an early coffee and didn't want to go back to the hotel, so I just came and sat in the stands.
But the players have made it out to the middle. Tumi Sekekuni, as she does, the night watcher, taking guard right-handed. She's actually left-handed. She's 1 not out. Sune Lee's the captain at the far end with her hand on her hip. Is 4 not out. And this is an interesting decision by England. Nat Siver is going to bowl the first over of the day from the far end with the Botham stand behind her. 3 slips and a gully, short leg. And Anna Harris says play. There's also a pointer mid-off and a mid-wicket as Siver comes trundling into Sekakune, drives back to the bowler.
And Izzy Wong has got the floppy hat on.
She has, hasn't she? There
Yes.
she is at mid-off.
I love that from Izzy Wong because there was only ever Lauren Winfield-Hill that wore the floppy. And if there was anyone to replace that, it's got to be Izzy Wong, hasn't it?
The Divock Origi of women's cricket in a floppy hat. Siver pumps her arms towards us. Sekakune with her long hair defends into the gully region where Kate Cross I think just nutmegged herself.
Yep, she did. She let that one go through her own legs.
Why is Nat Siver bowling the first over, Alex?
She bowled very well yesterday.
She did.
The ball's not new anymore. I think England are just going to rotate their seamers. What you know from Nat Siver is she'll just be a boring bowler. She'll just apply pressure, and South Africa need runs.
Siver's into bowl to Sekakune. It's outside the off stump. She leaves on the front foot. South Africa remain 55 for 3. There's a few spectators in Taunton. You'd expect maybe a few more to roll in as the chance of a result becomes clearer later in the day. Heather Knight at first slip, the captain with her hands on her knees, one of 3 slips. Siver bowls, it's a short delivery. Sekakune riding the bounce and pushing into the offside. Who's going to be at this end? It's got to be Izzy Wong, hasn't it? Lauren Bell's fielding down at long leg though, so potentially
Lauren Bell.
I haven't seen anyone doing any stretching exercises yet.
No, they don't need to stretch just yet. They've only just finished their warm-ups.
Done it all, haven't they?
Yeah.
Ready to go. Siver rumbles in and bowls to Sekakune, pushes into the point region. Emma Lamb comes around to her left, does the fielding. She'll be thinking, maybe have I got to lead a run chase later on. South Africa 78 behind. It's that interesting equation of the tourists wanting to take time out of the game but also knowing that they've got to build some sort of lead. Siver to complete the over to Sekakune, who very calmly pushes into the offside in defence. We've started with a maiden. Final day of the women's test between England and South Africa. 5 Sports Extra, Radio 4 long wave, BBC Sport website and app. Stick with us because it could and probably will
Be a belter.
be dramatic, Alex Hartley. South Africa 55 for 3, 78 behind.
We are going to see a little bit of Lauren Bell. Doesn't surprise me. A few clouds overhead coming from our left hand side. We've still got blue sky over to the right, but Lauren Bell's been impressive. The amount of swing she's got on the ball. She bowled 7 overs yesterday just for 11 runs. Not managed to pick up a wicket yet.
She's predominantly an in-swing bowler, Lauren Bell. That's why you can see short leg and a leg gully in place. 2 conventional slips, conventional gully, point mid-off, mid-on and a long leg down in the distance. Bell from our end to Sune Lees, the captain, who defends towards mid-on. 7 dot balls so far this morning.
It's interesting listening to Goodall in the press conference talking about that they feel they can still get a draw. Why do they feel like they can't win? Why do they feel like they can't set up a game?
It's a tough ask though, isn't it?
It is a really tough ask, but you know, with Marizanne Kapp, she could get a 70 ball 100.
Bell strides towards Lees, low full toss that Lees clips through mid-wicket with the swing. There's a big chase for Sophia Dunkley towards the Andy Carrick Pavilion and the dugouts. It's probably the longest part of the ground. South Africa take a couple. 57 for 3, trail by 76. Well, they're 76 behind, and after this there's 107 overs left in the day if it doesn't rain. What would they have to be in front, do you reckon?
Do you know what I'd love?
Yep.
For them to set England 100 to chase and give them 10 overs. That would be really interesting.
I'm not sure it's going to happen.
I'm not sure it's going to happen. I mean, the way that we're going to get a result is an England win.
Bell's ponytail sways behind her as she bowls to Lees. Turn to Tammy Beaumont. Quickly, the short leg fielder rolls the ball at the stumps and hits, but Lees is quickly back. We've been asked, Alex, by a few people on Twitter, a really important question, which is, how did Quizzy Wong get on last night? The TMS
Oh, yes.
pub quiz team.
Oh, we've got bad news.
Disappointing news, actually. We didn't even do badly in the quiz. Catchers go down as Bell bowls to Lees. Go past the outside edge. I don't think Sune Lee should have made that delivery look quite as good as she did. Back of a length outside the off stump, and she was poking at it. Bat away from her body.
But by the time we finished work last night,
Late, wasn't it?
late, we probably finished about 8:15. Well, the quiz started at 8
Quiz
o'clock.
started at 8. So the TMS debut of Quizzy Wong, or the quiz debut of Quizzy Wong, will have to wait. Bell strides in, it's full, almost held by Tammy Beaumont. I think she was probably a little way away from it, actually. It was a clip by Lees in the air. Beaumont dived away to her left, rolling over under the helmet. She put her hands to her face, but I don't think there was ever any realistic chance of the catch. 2 more taken, 59 for 3 with that turn to mid-wicket. It's going to bring a change in the field. Leg gully has come to a shortish square mid-wicket, where Lees has hit the ball twice so far in this over.
I like that from Captain Heather Knight.
59 for 3, 74 the deficit. Bell to complete the over to Lees, who defends a shortish delivery from the crease, pushing into the offside.
Left hand.
South Africa 59 for 3, 74 behind. Lees, the captain, has 8. Sekakuni, the night watcher, on 1.
Well, it was interesting yesterday. The last ball of the day, Sakakune took 1 off the first ball of the over and gave Sune Lees the last 5 balls to face.
That's got to be an experience, hasn't it?
That's 100% the lack of Test match cricket. Because actually, if you lose the wicket of Sakakune with 5 balls to go, 4 balls to go, that's it for the end of the day. It doesn't actually really matter.
Siva with the 3rd over of the day from the far end. Ball to Sekakune, who drives inside edge down towards long leg for a single. Sekakune onto 2, 60 for 3. What Sekakune could do, or will want to do, and what South Africa will want her to do, is just annoy England.
Jack Leach.
There's nothing worse than a night watcher hanging around the following morning like a barnacle stuck to a boat. Cannot remove them.
When Jack Leach went in as night watchman, what did he end up getting? His late 90s.
He nearly got 100 against Ireland at Lords. Siva balls to Lees. Solid defensive stroke into the covers, and there's no run.
That's not what England need or will want.
I think Leach got 96. So it was the day when England were dismissed for 80 odd by Ireland. First day of the test at Lords. Then England bowled Ireland out, and Leach ended up opening the batting. I think it was for 1 over. 3 slips go down as Lees drives nicely all along the ground. It should only be a single as Sophia Dunkley runs back towards the temporary stand away to our right. 1 taken, 61 for 3. And then Leach batted most of the second day. 92 it was. There you go. And at the time, it was when England were having real trouble finding an opener.
I thought, we can get that Jack Leach in.
I think Leach, he'd made something like the highest score by an England opener at Lords for quite a number of years. Field changes for left-handed Sekakune. It's outside the off-stump from Siva, left alone. The other thing I think about England's task today, with South Africa still 72 behind, something we were talking about over breakfast. In women's test cricket, I don't think the quality of the batting drops off as you go down the order in the same way as in a men's test team. Siva bowls to Sekakune, it's outside the off stump through to Amy Jones.
So you look at 9, 10, 11 of a men's test team compared to 9, 10, 11 here.
The difference between 9, 10, 11 and 1, 2 and 3 in a men's test team is vast in the quality of the batting, whereas I think in a women's test you have to work harder to get all of those wickets. I think that's going to be...
I think England's tail will really take that. I think they'll be happy with that.
Points gone back for Sekakune, who defends into the offside. There's no run. South Africa are 61 for 3. They trail by 72. And England's long day of trying to dislodge, work their way through this South Africa batting lineup has begun. Alex Hartley's been replaced by Georgia Elwys, one World Cup winner for another. It's disappointing, wasn't it, G, that Kwesi Wong couldn't be testing on wits?
I know, I was feeling quite good about it.
5 catches go down. There's an appeal for LBW against Sune Lees from Bell. It's swinging, as Bell does, into the pads. Bell's made that gesture towards Captain Heather Knight, so I think it's heading down the leg side. No review from England. It's tough for Lauren Bell to get LBWs, because when she swings the ball as much as she does, to hit the stumps, a batter shouldn't really be hit in line. It's almost like facing an off spinner.
Yeah, it's a huge amount of movement that she's getting this morning as well, isn't it?
She's got a shirt untucked as she strides towards Lees, who this time defends calmly back to the bowler. So we had to make our own entertainment in Taunton last night, didn't we?
Oh, we had a good night.
Then this morning, we'll walk to the ground, didn't we? The whole entire commentary team, except for Alex, who I think slept here. She was here so early. We had a little stroll through Taunton. All ready for this final day. It's just got a little bit more cloudy overhead. Still patches of blue as Bell bowls to Lees. Defends from the crease. Look, let's turn your microphone on, Phil.
I am.
Good morning.
Were you both happy with the route we took in this morning?
Well, that's the first time I've walked to the ground.
Oh, okay.
And it got us here. It's fine.
Same for me. I think we joined at the walkers on a good day, I think, really, Stefan, by the sounds of it.
The walk-in train, we called, or the walk-in bus, like going to school, wasn't it? Bell's into bowl to Lees. Again, gets low to the ground as she defends on the front foot.
I did wonder if Charlotte might bring along some high-vis vests for us so we were instantly recognisable on the streets.
Producer Charlotte. Now, TV replays are showing that Sune Lees has got an edge onto that LBW appeal. Are they showing this because it was caught? But if it was caught, obviously England appealed, so I don't know why they're lingering on the fact that there was an edge on that. It's given not out. Bell into Lees, down the leg side, harmlessly swings past the right-handed South Africa captain towards the gloves of Amy Jones. So we walked to the ground this morning, and then later on, me and Henry Moran and producer Charlotte, we're off to Edgbaston for the men's test, which starts tomorrow, 10:30. That starts tomorrow. Don't forget, half an hour earlier. And one of us is giving Charlotte a lift to Birmingham. Bell bowls to Lees, final ball of the over. Shortish. Lees goes back onto her stumps and defends. End of the over. South Africa this morning have moved on from 55 for 3 to 61 for 3. Captain Lees is on 9. Sekakune has 2. They still trail by 72.
Yeah, we had quite a lengthy discussion last night, didn't we, about who the lucky one would be.
Well, it might be you.
It could well be me.
Because you're going back to Wolverhampton.
I am, yeah.
You drop Charlotte off in Birmingham on the way.
Yeah.
Who has the pleasure of Charlotte's company?
Gonna have to pick names, aren't we?
We are. But this is the final day of the second of 3 back-to-back test matches. England men beat New Zealand at Headingley. Now we've got England's women pushing for victory over South Africa. Then tomorrow, that rescheduled 5th test between England's men and India at Edgbaston. Sivers round the wicket to Sekakune. Defends back to the bowler, and there's no run. And of course, today and then tomorrow, and for all 5 days of that men's test match special, live text commentary on the BBC Sport website, in-play highlights and clips. Watch highlights of this match tonight from 10 o'clock on the BBC iPlayer. Who knows, possibly a thrilling England win. Sekakune raises the bats, a short ball from Siver, first one that England have bowled this morning, first proper bouncer, and Sekakune, with her long hair flying everywhere, rides the bounce well, hooks it nicely round the corner for a single. 62 for 3 South Africa. I'm not sure, Georgia, if you agree with me, but I think a little bit of pace has gone out of this pitch as the match has worn on.
Yeah, absolutely. Sekukuni was a good bouncer from Natseva, good height, but Sekukuni played it really nicely. She had the time to just rock back, didn't she, and play it down.
Totally composed, the Night Watcher. Siva to Lees. Pushed into the covers. Sophia Dunkley rushes in to do the fielding.
I think we saw last night under the floodlights, Izzy Wong, the quickest in this England attack. She was getting the most pace and carry out of the wicket. But this morning it does look slow. Batter seemed to have more time to play the ball down, and there's not a huge amount of sideways movement from Natsiva's end.
62 for 3. Lees lets one go outside the off stump. You feel like the two most different bowlers in the England attack are going to have to do most of the work, and that is Sophie Ecclestone and Izzy Wong, or to take most of the wickets. That is England, how England are going to get those 7 breakthroughs today. Siva comes bustling in towards us. That's another attempted short ball, but Lees just sways out of the way. It wasn't quite straight enough. Goes through to Amy Jones. You can see as Nat Siva walks back towards the Botham stand, there are some of the hospitality boxes at the top of that stand with a few people inside it. Then beyond that, in the distance, there's that multi-storey car park building site, Georgia, where there doesn't seem to be much work going on today. Lees lets one go. Outside the off stump, end of the over. South Africa 62 for 3. They trail by 71. Lees has 9. Sekukune has 3. Has to be said, Georgia, England have bowled well this morning. Nothing loose, but also no alarms for the South Africans either.
No, they've been. The South Africans have played nicely. England just need to be patient. I like the movement that Lauren Bell's getting from this end, and she's keeping the stumps in play, and I think that's really important. It's like a change of attack from her now. She's going to come around the wicket. But yeah, the patience they've got and drying the runs up, that'll heap the pressure on South Africa. South Africa need to still look to be scoring and decreasing the deficit.
Bell is round the wicket to the left-handed Sekukune, who lets one go outside the off stump. I like this angle from Lauren Bell because it creates 2 challenges for Sekukune: the ball going away from her or not going away from her and coming in to challenge the pads.
Yeah, absolutely. She's going to have to make some really good decisions here about what she plays and what she leaves, lining her off stump up well.
Bell is a tall, blonde, slender figure. She's got a fierce look on her face as she runs in. Again, it's left outside the off stump by Sekukune with a good lunge towards the ball. Actually, the ball's gently arcing away from her. It's a beautiful view, Georgia, away to our right over the scoreboard where the sunshine is just hitting the Quantock Hills. My son watches a lot of Postman Pat, and it reminds me of Greendale.
Bit too old for Greendale now.
Bell ball to Sekukune. It's outside the off stump. Left alone. Bell just needs to straighten this up a touch, but it's the age-old problem of if Bell bowls too straight, the ball probably stops swinging.
Yeah, I think what Lauren Bell can do is move her position on the crease so that the angle of where she's delivering the ball from changes slightly as well, and that can confuse the batter what to play and what to leave.
Sekukune raises the bat, and there you go. As Bell does go straighter, the ball doesn't swing, it slides on down the leg side, and Amy Jones can't gather. South Africa get through for a bye. Score goes on to 63 for 3. By that do you mean if Bell goes wider of the crease, she can angle the ball in and target the stumps more, still hoping for the ball to swing?
Yeah, definitely. I just think that angle of attack is different. Her coming around the wicket I really like, but she can also play with the position that she releases the ball from on the crease to create a little bit more doubt.
That short mid-wicket is still in place for the right-handed Sune Lees as Bell bowls. It's short, and Lees has got a lot of time to go back and defend into the offside. There's one delivery of the over remaining. South Africa 63 for 3. They trail by 70.
Yes, Lauren, here we go, come on! Come on, girls, here we go now.
Tammy Beaumont making plenty of noise at short leg. Bell sprints away from us to Lees. Lees, no great foot movement, just pushes into the offside. South Africa are 63 for 3 at the end of the over. They trail by 70. Henry Moran's just appeared in front of our commentary box window to say there are spots of rain falling, and we can see them actually on the concrete in front of our box. I have to say, it can only be the lightest possible rain, because there's a lot of blue sky behind that cloud. Can't imagine at the moment the weather is particularly threatening. Phil, you had your microphone poised during that over.
I did know. I was going to reiterate what the point you'd made about getting through women's teams in Test cricket can be quite tough. Last year, England played India. India followed on, 165 behind. They were at one stage 199 for 7 in all sorts of bother. They were helped out in the end by Sneerana, Tanya Bhatia.
Kate Cross into the attack, down the leg side. Sekakune watches it go past the hip. There's a change of bowling there at the far end. Siva been replaced by Cross. I've overstayed my welcome. Melissa Story is going to replace me. Georgia, can Kate Cross produce something for England that they haven't yet found this morning?
I think so. I think she'll bowl quite a similar manner to Nat Siva, keep it tight lines and lengths, but she's an expert at bowling this wobble ball, getting a bit of seam movement, and she likes bowling at the left-handers and taking that ball away from them.
As Kate Cross past the stumps, and that's past the edge of Sekakuna's bat, through to the keeper Amy Jones. See, in my first 2 days of this test, I had a very eager Stefan Schemmel stood behind me, intimidating me to get off the air when it was the end of my stint. And I just tried to replicate that then, and probably had as much intimidation as a small kitten. He wasn't shifting. He stole one of my deliveries. As Kate Cross bowls, and that's driven into the offside. And Izzy Wong fires that in to the stumps. 63 for 3. She's got a big grin on her face as usual. That fantastic session in the evening last night.
She's a great character, isn't she? She always looks like she's really enjoying being out there, whether she's out there for 5 overs or 100 overs.
Okay, cross to the left-handed Sekakuna, who drops that into the offside again. She's looking competent out there in the middle, which is not what any England fans will be hoping for. But night watchers do tend to have that annoying habit of sticking around, annoying the pants off of England.
Yeah, I suppose the thing for England is that they'd have had to take her wicket at some point, so I suppose for them it's just another figure in that wicket column.
As Sekakuna there pulls out just as Kate Cross was running into bowl, with potentially a case of the old fly in the eye. She's sorted that out, ready to face Cross, who's charging in, bowls full, and that's a sketchy defensive shot from the crease. And Sekakuna padding with her head tied, not tied up, completely down, and you don't see that too often. I know Sophie Luff at Western Storm bats with her hair down. I'm not sure I could do it myself.
We used to see Fran Wilson doing the same, didn't we, in the early parts of her career, but no, that annoys me when it's down anyway.
Cross in, driven back to her by Sekakuna, and that completes that Kate Cross over. 63 for 3 South Africa, trailing by 70 still. We have a few jumpers being run onto the field maybe. Something's been thrown to Tammy Beaumont. Some more layers, I think. Phil on.
Yeah, I think the good news is the rain has stopped, hasn't it? There's not any spots outside, so that was the mildest of showers.
And Tammy Beaumont just getting under that helmet there. Looks like for this Lauren Bell over. Maybe we'll see a bit more of the short stuff from Lauren Bell. It's been something she's been working on over the winter, hasn't it? She's got that height. She must be 6 foot, maybe over 6 foot. And Tabby Beaumont's moving into a short leg position. There's a seagull at fine leg for extra protection. Not sure how good a fielder it would be. As Bell bowls down the leg side, a good take from Amy Jones. And Lee's here, 9 off 41 deliveries. She's been digging in.
Yeah, she absolutely has. But I think this field change, so the short mid wicket now, like you said, has gone back to a deep square leg. Deep square leg and the fine leg out for that short ball, and whether that just is a bit of a plan just to put that doubt in the back of the batter's mind. Not seeing the short ball yet, but I'm sure we will.
Determined, Bell bowls outside the off stump, dropped away by Lees. They're running hard between the stumps, but only a single taken. Good fielding there from Alice Davis-Richards in the covers. 64 for 3, the score. That one just a bit wider outside the off stump, and Lee's just pushing her hands through that delivery. Never had the pacer to race away to the boundary, but more of a drop and run. As Sekakuna brought back on strike. 3 slips and a gully for England. Point. Extra cover. Mid-off. Mid-wicket. Fine leg. As Bell runs in, bowls, and that's a full delivery. Dug out by Sekakuna. She's 3 off 30 deliveries. Did her role very admirably last night as night watcher. And sticking out there in the middle with her captain today. Sue Redfern there just having a little stroll down the pitch. Having a look. We had the light roller on this morning. South Africa's choice, of course, as Bell runs in, bowls, late swing, driven by Sekakuna. No run.
Yeah, Sue Redfern just had a quick word there with Lauren Bell regarding her follow through, telling her exactly where she was going and where she certainly didn't want her to go.
You can't go in the red zone, can you? I'm not quite sure where it is. It's in a realm which we're not allowed to see. But you do have to be careful, especially with the wear and tear in this 4th day pitch. Lauren Bell coming over the wicket to Sekakuna, bowls, and that's dropped to point. And no run taken. Now there's a mix of attire on the field because a few England players have opted for the long sleeve woolly. Some have gone for the woolly vest, and some people are rocking short sleeve t-shirts. I'm not sure what the weather is out there.
Well, it looks bright enough, doesn't it? But you find those who are having to bowl have gone without the jumper.
As Bell in straight, defended from the crease by Sekakuna, who retraces her shot after that ball. And it completes the over. 64 for 3, South Africa, trailing by 69.
8 overs gone this morning so far. No boundaries, just the 9 runs added.
South Africa in defensive mode. We've been shown this red area.
There is the red zone.
There it is. It does exist. It's not like Bigfoot or the Loch Ness Monster. We can see it. Lauren Bell not looking too close to it in that last delivery, but she has been given the warning by umpire Sue. Kate Cross runs around, does a 360 at the top of her mark and bowls, and that's a big appeal for LBW. The finger goes up. Umpire Anna Harris says that's out, and it's the captain Sune Lees who's been trapped in front by England's senior bowler. They come together for a chat in the middle. The time's running out. DRS timer moves on to 0, and the captain has to go. She's jumped across the pitch and she's walking off.
Yeah, she thought about reviewing it the last second, didn't she? But she didn't quite get it in there early enough. It's a really bad miss. She's just completely missed a straight delivery. I think that's hitting halfway up that middle stump, and I think she knew it really. Her head dropped down after she'd played that shot. Nowhere near the line of the ball. And the breakthrough comes from Kate Cross. Sune Lees has to go 10 off 43 balls, and that is a big wicket for England this morning, just as South Africa were looking comfortable in the middle. The England bowlers have been patient. Phil said 8 overs for 9 runs this morning, so they've worked hard, they've bowled consistently, they've been patient, and they've got their reward.
And of course South Africa's still trailing by 69 now, so for England they only need to take 6 more wickets. They'll be feeling pretty alert out there in the field there. Their tails will be up. We may just see some more attacking field change still. Maybe a bit of Izzy Wong to come. Because we mentioned this pitch is slowing up and it's looking a bit difficult sometimes in these passages of play when things slow down to keep things moving. But we haven't seen Wong or Eccleston this morning, and you'd think those two would be almost England's most attacking frontline bowlers. But Kate Cross is the one with the breakthrough. She's been fantastic this match for England. Picking up 4 wickets in that first innings. And already 2 wickets in the second one.
Lizelle Lee on a pair.
Right arm over, it's 5 left.
I'm sure they'll be letting her know that as well.
Cross to Lee then. Charges in, bowls, and that's straight. Tickled off the hip. She advances down the wicket, but gets sent back by Sakakuni at the other end. You could see the desperation in Lee there. Desperate to get off that pair.
Alex Hartley's just given me a good stat.
Go on.
Lizelle Lee averages 3 in Test match cricket.
3 runs average for Lizelle Lee.
In an 8-year career.
As Cross bowls, left alone by Lee. That was a tight leave. She spins around, and if I can lip read correctly, she's just gone, oof.
That was a good delivery, wasn't it? That wobble ball from Kate Cross. She's so good at that. In the movement off the seam, bringing it back to the right-hander. That was a good leave from Lizelle Lee. She's gone over the top of off stump.
Cross analyses the ball at the top of her mark. Runs in, bowls, and left alone by Lee again. Kate Cross has a grin on her face. She knows this is a battle between her and Lee out there in the middle.
Yeah, and these two are good friends actually. They played together in the 100 last year. And I think there'll be an extra little bit of spice in this battle. Kate Cross will be desperate to get the wicket of Lizelle Lee so she can talk about it all summer.
3 slips in a gully, eagerly waiting as Cross bowls and leaves. Spins around again and has a few words with Amy Jones behind the stumps. I think they're definitely exchanging a few words about this pair. We've just spotted potentially some umbrellas going up in the river stand opposite us. So hopefully it's a similar shower to the one we saw before, meaning it lasts about 30 seconds. As Cross comes in, bowls, defending from the crease is Lee, pushing into the offside and completing that over from Kate Cross. South Africa 64 for 4.
Yeah, Lizelle Lee, in fact, averaged 3 before this test. That naught means she averages 2.
So, if she gets a naught in this innings, Phil, does it go down 1 more?
It'll be down 2. It'll then be 6 test runs divided by 4 outs, so 1.5.
There's some colourful umbrellas going up in the crowd. We've got the rainbow one to our right. Nice purple and green over there, but we can't see too many drops of rain landing.
Yeah, it might be rain in the river stand. It's not reached us over here yet in the Marcus Trescothick Pavilion.
Alex Hardley has joined us in the commentary box again, former World Cup winner. What have your thoughts been on the morning so far, and this bowling change from England bringing Sophie Eccleston into the attack?
Good morning for England, obviously getting the captain out early on in the morning, and now you bring on the dangerous Sophie Eccleston, who's going to bowl to Sakakuni, the left-hander. So she's going to come over the wicket. And pressure on Lizelle Lee here as well, averaging 2. So she was averaging 3. So I actually gave George Rowis a bad stat. Sounded like a good one, but it wasn't true.
Makes you feel quite good about your own batting average, though.
Mine's 10 in international cricket.
Yours is. There we go.
There we go.
Go have a word with Lizelle Lee
Get
after
me
the
in.
game. Go remind her that. Eccleston then bowling to the left-handed Sakakuna. She's in, and that's straight, and a big appeal for LBW. First of all from England. Umpire Sue Redfern says not out, shaking her head. And England come in for a little chat. There's a lot of hand gestures from Sophie Eccleston suggesting that's just sliding down the leg side, and they opt not to go for the review.
Yeah, I think that's the right call as well. It looked like it was sliding down, so if anything it was going to be umpire's call. But Sophie Eccleston, with her first ball of this innings, causes complication already.
She bowls, arms swinging and defending as Sekakuna into the offside. Back to the bowler.
Must be a really nice feeling for Sophie Eccleston, just knowing how good she is. So I can come in at any time and I can cause problems.
As she bowls, that's given some more air, and Sekakuna defends to Lauren Bell at extra cover. 64 for 4. Do you think she just looks in the mirror every morning and just goes, I'm really good?
Yeah, I would if I was her.
Just looking at that replay of that LBW dismissal, was missing the leg stump as Eccleston bowls, defended by Sekakuna. Again for no run, already applying the pressure here. Eccleston, as you would expect, as from someone who can wake up and look in the mirror and think I'm really good. And she bowls that long blonde ponytail behind her, that's shorter and slashed to short fine leg by Sekakuna. She's pretty much surrounded at the crease there. She's got a slip and 2 catchers under the helmet to give her some company there. Eccleston in bowling and pushed into the offside by Sekakuna. There's a wild throw from backward point, and that completes the over.
And that rain that we were talking about has just started to hit our window, but as I look overhead, it doesn't look... Where's the rain coming from?
It's come from the river stand, so now it's come to the Marcus Trescothick Pavilion, and it's
2 minutes later.
we have to hit it back.
Okay.
And then we're going to build up a bit of a rally across the day.
As
So
we can
hopefully
see,
it should avoid the players.
yeah, we can see Sophie Eccleston's parents sat in the stands with their umbrella up, the Lancashire County Cricket Club umbrella. Looks a good one, that. I don't know where they've got that one from. Well, obviously from Lancashire, but
That's
a good investment, that umbrella.
It's a canopy. That's massive. As Kate Cross bowls, and that's an edge or a drop from Lee, and she gets off the mark. She'll be relieved. No pair for Lizelle Lee today. She looks at her bat in admiration.
On the offside.
And it means that she'll avoid that dreaded 1.5 average. So it's only up from here for Lizelle Lee.
Things can only get better, Lizelle. You know what, she's one of the nicest people in women's cricket. Played a lot of cricket with Lizelle Lee. Played against her a lot as well, and in white ball cricket, one of the best in the world, one of the most destructive batters. But red ball cricket is completely different, especially in this situation where you're batting out for the draw.
Cross charging in, and that's driven by Sekakuna to extra cover. No run taken, 65 for 4. And Tammy Beaumont now under the helmet on the offside for Sekakuna. Obviously expecting maybe that bit of extra bounce from the pitch, maybe a bit of inconsistent or too paced bounce. And I'm not sure whether you've seen the story this morning which has come out before the men's test against India coming up as cross bowls and defending from the crease as Sekakuna, that Ollie Pope is going to be wearing a helmet on his as he fields at short leg to give the almost a insight action.
Oh, a camera on the helmet.
A camera on the helmet at short leg.
I like
for the
that.
first time.
I like that because quite often we don't know what it's actually like in there and how close you are. It started raining quite heavily here at Taunton.
Cross continues through the rain, and that's left alone by Sekakuna outside the off stump, and it's coming from our left here quite heavily, quite horizontally, and the 2 umpires are coming together for a chat.
Oh, just the English summer is so frustrating, isn't it? We've been on and off for rain for the last couple of days. England could really force a result here, as Anna Harris looks up at the sky and says, well, it looks like a passing cloud, so we're going to carry on. But it is quite heavy.
It is, and England will be careful not to get that ball too wet. A few bar towels brought on the pitch, I'm sure. As Kate Cross runs in, that's a low full toss which is slashed into the offside. There's a bit of a mix up here, but there's a misfield in the covers from Izzy Wong. Or else there may have been a chance of a run out there. There's a few smiles exchanged between the South African batters. And this rain continues to fall. Members of the crowd are just putting up umbrellas or taking shelter. think it would be quite a bold decision to come to the cricket today without an umbrella.
Yeah, couldn't agree more.
Following yesterday's play. But Kate Cross, final ball of her over. She runs in, full outside the off stump, left alone by Sakakuna. The score 65 for 4, trail still by 68. How do you think South Africa are going to survive the rest of this day? And after your thoughts, it'll be Henry Moran.
Well, the fact that there is rain around probably helps South Africa, because there will be time taken out of this game. We know that they don't think they can win from here, so they're batting out for the draw. And Sakakune is just sitting in very nicely and shaping up nicely. She's impressed me this morning as the umpires talk again, but we are going to carry on.
I like this. Well done, umpires Harris and Redfern.
Get the game on.
Get the game on. The ground staff are preparing to wheel out the covers, but, well, frankly, we're not going to get a result if we go off and on all day. We're just not, because as soon as you're off, it takes an age to get back on again. We saw that yesterday.
Yeah, hoping producer Charlotte's got something for us if it rains.
Yes. Or Phil Dong might do one of his famous poems. Here comes Sophie Eccleston round the wickets, 2 leg side-ish, helped along the way down towards fine leg. That'll see the ball picking up a fair bit of moisture as it whistles down to the boundary. Easy Wong picks up, and Liz LD gets back for a second. 67 for 4. Leg byes, forgive me.
I met a young lad yesterday that was here at the test match. I think you guys might have seen him yesterday evening in the pub, who got into women's cricket through Noble's cricket
I heard
podcast.
this. Lovely, Matt. Jack.
Jack.
We met Jack.
Would be quite nice to chat to Jack, actually.
Jack's a good lad. What a great story to hear that.
It is a great story. So watch men's cricket and listen to Tailenders, the podcast.
Eccleston bowls. This is spooned up in the air. Cries of catch. It's going to evade the fielder at short fine leg. And Liz LD will get one there, I think, off the bat. Eccleston causing problems. 68 for 4 as the rain does begin to ease a little bit.
So Jack listened to Tailenders and then through that found No Balls and started listening to No Balls. Then got into women's cricket and now says he actually prefers women's cricket, which I love that.
Well, there you go, hey?
There we go. We're recording a No Balls at 4 p.m. Friday.
Here comes Sakakune, waiting for Eccleston as it's pushed into the leg side. She played nicely, the night watcher, pushed out towards deep mid wicket for 2. And South Africa now 69 for 4, trailing 70 for 4, trailing by 63. Who's your guest this week? Is there a guest?
Yes, there is indeed. We're going to have an England debutant this week. We're going to do.
It's one of 4.
Yes, we're going to have Lauren Bell and potentially Emma Lamb. Maybe we'll get 2 episodes out. But Crossy messaged me this morning saying she's very excited for the podcast because she's got a lot of content.
This is good news. Here comes Eccleston outside the off stump, slashed away, nicely played by Sekakune, and Emma Lamb runs in, dare I say, a faintly geriatric manner in pursuit of the ball down to the rope. She dives eventually. I don't think she saved it, and I think that'll be signalled as 4 runs. Sue Redfern confirms as much, and the score moves to 74 for 4.
Yeah, 4 runs and the first boundary of the morning.
Sophie Eccleston just getting her line wrong there to Sakakune. Short, wide, outside the off stump. She was able to just cut that past Emma Lamb, who puts in a dive, but more of a dive to show she's made an effort. Pretty sure the ball had already touched the boundary rope by the time she stopped it.
Yeah, well, I always think, maybe you never quite, because the ball has slowed up a bit at times, so you never quite know. So you got possibly Emma Lamb, Lauren Bell. Here comes Eccleston. That's a better looking ball. It skews off the outer half of the bat. Lamb moves around swiftly to pick up her backward points. 75 for 4. The Lamb and Bell, it sounds like a pub.
It does, doesn't it? We're not going to do them together. We're going to do them separately.
Okay, lovely. We'll look forward to that. That'll be on BBC Sounds on the Test Match special stream. And speaking of BBC Sounds, tomorrow from 9:55. England v India men. Here comes Eccleston. Forward in defence comes Sakakune, who's been there now for 48 balls. End of the over, 74 for 4. Yeah, that test match gets underway. Got team news has just arrived as well. Ben Folkes has not recovered in time from COVID.
Doesn't surprise me.
No, he was training yesterday, but isn't in the side. Instead, Sam Billings will keep wicket. And the other change from the initial starting 11 at Headingley against New Zealand. Jimmy Anderson in for Jamie Overton.
Yes, Jamie Overton had a cracking debut, but you always knew that Jimmy Anderson, if fit, would come straight back into that starting 11.
And so that test match begins 10:30 tomorrow morning, so don't miss half an hour on TMS.
I've seen a lot of people saying they've booked their train to get there for 11 o'clock start.
Well, I always thought that was why the start was at 11, because it allowed people to get off-peak trains to get to the ground.
But maybe they're capitalising on daylight hours.
Here comes Kate Cross, bowling to Lee, tucking into the leg side, but no run. Wong picks up at mid-wicket. It is the longest day of the year almost, so I should think the sun's it's not getting dark till about 10, so I'm not quite sure that holds any truth.
Yeah, I was just trying to be nice, wasn't I?
I'd love to know the reason.
I know the reason, but I don't know if I can say the reason. It's something about the Indian audience.
Oh, television.
Television.
Okay, right. Here comes Kate Cross. Far end of the ground. Bustling in once more. Past the umpire. Ooh, that one tails in, but is nicely whipped away by Lizelle Lee. And she's going to pick up 4 runs. Square on the leg side. Out towards the Somerset stand. And that's a good shot from Lizelle Lee.
Well, talking about red ball cricket, we've got a cracking test match here. Finlay Bean is still batting for Yorkshire's second 11, and he's 385 not out in pursuit of his 400. And Yorkshire 710 for 4.
385. Francis, what's he called?
Finlay Bean.
Finlay Bean.
He's been at the crease a long time.
He has been at the crease, yeah. I wonder if he'll need a runner. In comes Kate Cross, bowling to Lee, who again will find a gap on the leg side. More work for Izzy Wong to do, chasing that ball in the deep. It'll be Lauren Bell who pick up, though. 2 runs taken.
Certainly sounds like he's got a broad bat.
Does, doesn't it? Yeah. I mean, enough of these half-baked jokes. 80 for 4.
Kate Cross there just getting her line wrong to Lizelle Lee, just angling down the leg side. She's flicked it into mid-wicket for a couple of runs. Lizelle Lee has now got her highest test score.
She's on 8 from 11.
Yes. The average is slowly creeping up for her.
Sun's come out. It's going to be that sort of day, I think. And I'm really pleased the umpires just thought, come on, let's get on with it.
Yeah, me too. As Tammy Beaumont puts a bit of sawdust down for Kate Cross. And if there was a player on this England side that you didn't want to put sawdust down, it was Tammy Beaumont, because she's got the smallest hands in the team, so she can't possibly pick up that much sawdust.
Here comes Cross, bounding into bowl to Lizelle Lee, who's playing with bat and pad close together, pushing the ball up towards Beaumont, who slides across this greasy outfield to pick up, and the score moves to 81 for 4.
Yeah, Lizelle Lee, talking about her low score, she made 4 and 2 against India in Mysore back in 2014. She then had to wait 8 years to try and put things right, and then of course got a 0 in the first innings, and as you just mentioned, Al, she's now got 9 here today, her highest test score.
Lovely.
Well, I always think it was the women's test game. You get really weird records, you know.
Yes.
Oh, it's the first 59 years. Well,
not played for 9 years. Well, hopefully those records will become less and less as we see more women's test cricket, as the larger nations are looking to play a little bit more.
Cross coming in right arm round to the left-handed Sekikune, running in towards us. That's driven nicely up towards cover, and where Wong will field. Cross walks back in quite a menacing way, a bit of a swagger.
She has got a bit of a swagger.
Shoulders rolling. A bit like you saw walking down a dark alley, you'd be a bit nervous.
Hood up.
Yeah.
Shaz got that resting, unhappy face as well.
That's not what they call it. Right, here comes Cross. Far end of the ground, sprinting in. Towards us, Sekikune waiting, helping that ball in the air, not far away from Tammy Beaumont at short leg. A single is taken just for a second, the ball popped up. It looked like it might be a chance. But she was never really in the game, Beaumont. She's a good fielder there. End of the over. 82 for 4, the deficit 51.
Yeah, not far away from Tammy Beaumont, but far enough that it was safe, if that makes any sense at all. It was aerial, and for a slight moment, the England fielders shouted catch. But she gets away with it.
Just 10 runs off the first 11 overs this morning, but there's been 17 off the last 2.
Ooh.
Game on.
They're going for the win.
Well, it's very easy to think, oh, it's just can England take the remaining 6 wickets, but there is more to do than that. They're going to have to, you would have thought, score some runs as well, and you have to keep a bit of check on that.
Yeah, I like the fact that they're trying to score runs as well, because you've got to be positive at the crease. You can't just sit in and wait to get out.
Eccleston bowls. Sekakuni drives firmly. Good stop by Emma Lamb at backward point. We've got a silly point, a short extra cover, a short mid wicket, short leg and a slip, all well within the eye line of Tumi Sekakuni, the left-hander, as we've got the left arm spin of Sophie Eccleston bowling from the Marcus Trescothick Pavilion end. That's the end we're looking at. Tall figure, hair tied up. Moves in now to bowl. Oh, a big slashing drive which goes through to the gloves of Jones.
Do you know what a lot of people on air will be really happy to know?
What's that?
I've learnt how to say Marcus Trescothick. No! No! Trescothick.
Yay!
I've learnt, I had to practice.
In comes Eccleston. Bowls forward into fences, Sekakune. That was really dangerous.
And I messed it up. But honestly, I've been practicing for days and days and days. Where I'm just saying Trescothick, Trescothick, Trescothick. I've got it.
You have.
But I didn't when I needed it.
Yeah, the
and yeah, and I even said it in my head.
Oh, bad luck. My favourite moment of the game. Eccleston is in. Bowling to Sekakune, who shows the full face of the bat.
I always thought Amy Satterthwaite was the one I always used to. Tend to put Timmy Thurs in there, and
it's difficult.
I had to practice that one as well. I used to call her Satterthwaite, and it's not. It's Thwaite.
Yeah, it's slightly tongue twistery. Sun shining now as Eccleston bowls. Again pushed away by Sekakune, who's been there now for 55 balls. We've got a delivery left this 39th over of the innings. And Tumi Sekakune has looked immovable this morning.
She's really impressed me, to the point where Sophie Eccleston is just having a chat to Nat Sivert. Solid as a rock she is so far today.
In comes Eccleston. Final ball of the over. It's on the stumps and defended into the onside. 82 for 4 as we hear the gulls squawking. Flags over to our right above the Andy Caddick Pavilion and just gently flopping in the breeze. And as we look around the ground, there's a few supporters in. They were patient yesterday. Had to be very patient.
I was surprised at how many stuck around. And then once England got back on, it was rowdy out there.
It was.
Loud. There's a stand above us to our right hand side, and we had people chanting and singing up there.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I suppose the thing is, if you've got nothing else to do, you might avail yourself of the local offerings from the breweries, perhaps.
Yes.
Kate Cross is going to continue from the far end. I just not to have seen Izzy Wong this morning. I thought with the momentum she had yesterday.
Yeah, and Nat Sivert opening the bowling. Maybe they're just giving a little bit of extra rest. Might have woken up a bit tight.
82 for 4. As in comes Cross. It's a bouncer, which Lizelle Lee can just watch sail over because it's actually quite short. Too short, says umpire Anna Harris. And wide is signalled. 83 for 4.
Now, I've seen a few short balls this test match that I don't believe have been wide. I don't think that was a wide.
It was quite... I mean, Lizelle Lee didn't have to sort of duck.
The umpires are never wrong either, so, you know.
Except when they are. Here is Cross. Bowling to Lee, who defends a length ball. DRS is sort of put paid to that. Sometimes they are. Not often. I'm amazed at how much they get right, actually.
Me too. Anna Harris has been particularly impressive in this test match.
She's not got anything wrong. Now, that's not to say that Sue Redfern's got much wrong.
She's got a couple, though.
You couldn't be an umpire, Alex.
No, I don't have the concentration. And I would just give everybody out, because I'm guessing you still get the same pay if it's a quick game or a long game.
In comes Cross. bowling to Lizelle Lee, who
Ooh, feisty Crossy.
played back towards Cross, who then shapes to shy at the stumps, and Lizelle Lee stands there glaring at her.
Feisty one you are, as Kate Cross pretends to throw that ball back at Lizelle Lee, who was not out of her crease in the slightest. Maybe that's Kate Cross's way of trying to get into the game.
Cross at the far end, wheels round in the sunshine. 3 slips and a gully waiting. As Cross in, right arm over, bowling, left alone by Lizelle Lee. But it's a good question. I presume you get the same pay, regardless of how long the game is.
Yeah.
So anything that was close to the pad's gone.
But then DRS would prove me wrong a lot, wouldn't it?
Do you really think you'd become a professional?
No, I couldn't even count to 6 that many times.
Oh, that's why you need the stones.
Well, I'd forget, wouldn't I? I'd start chucking them in the air and play catch and be like, how many stones can I juggle with?
Maybe not for you.
No.
The umpire.
I'll stick up here.
In comes Cross. Bowling to Lee. Oh, it angles in. It was a good ball and she had to jam the bat down quickly. Get through for a single. 84 for 4. The deficit now 49.
I think the other thing with Anna Harris we've not really mentioned much is how young she is as well. Still only 23.
Apparently not had the best of years, but she's had a brilliant test match. Just that ball from Kate Cross there, that is what she does so well. Just hit the top of off stump and then get one to nip back in off the surface.
Izzy Wong is starting to limber up a little bit.
Just saying, she bowled quicker yesterday than the day before, and the TV has proved so. 73.8 miles an hour was her fastest yesterday.
Round the wicket comes Cross to Sekikuni. Pushes into space in the offside. Is sent back though because Emma Lamb does well getting round for a backward point. And there is no run. 1 ball left of the over. Little conversation between Sekikuni and Lizelle Lee just to clarify their communication.
I like that though. Lizelle Lee has a huge smile on her face. She's not one to get angry.
No, her baby's here, is it?
Yes.
What's it called?
I don't know.
He? I think
He is a he. I'm not sure what he's called.
Sorry, it seems a bit impersonal. Here comes Cross. Running in, round the wicket. Final ball of the over. It's defended ever so easily. 84 for 4.
There's only ever one type of person that calls young children it, and it's people without kids.
What?
It's true.
Yeah, well, you're right. Well, I'm trying to find out what the baby's called. Well, anyway, I will find out for you at some point. Supporters over there in the river stand. I can see a red jacket over the knees of 2 supporters that are huddled together. It's a fresh day, I'd say. It's not cold, but it's not particularly warm.
I think in the shade it would be quite cold, but when the sun's out, it's not too bad.
It's July tomorrow.
Gosh.
Is it?
Second half of the year.
Oh,
It's Christmas
I was
soon.
going to say, what are you getting there?
Nothing. Depends where we are in the world.
Here comes Eccleston. It's a good ball. Appeal for LBW. No, says Sue Redfern. England liked that a lot. It was full. It looks pretty straight. The question is there any bat involved? England are having a conversation and are going upstairs.
That looks out, unless there's any bat involved. Unless there's a slight inside edge, I think that is out.
Director, we have a review for LBW. The original decision is not out. I'll take front on. It's a fair delivery. Thank you.
The voice of Nigel Long we can hear. As we see the first replay, it is full. Wow, I think that might be angling down the leg side.
Umpire's call?
Possibly.
Give me a little bit closer on that one, please.
We're going to see that again. Let's see if there's... Didn't turn, really. I'm not sure there's bat involved. The bat got a bit trapped behind that front pad.
Lizelle Lee playing across that delivery.
Okay, it hasn't been called. Okay, I'm going straight to LBW for the ultra edge. Thank you.
Okay. Ultra edge. That'll confirm, I think, that there's no bat. Indeed, flat line.
Ball goes past. Clearly goes past flat line, ready for ball track. Thank you.
Oh, I think it's going to be... I think this is drifting down the leg side for me.
I think that's out. But it could well be clipping leg stump, which would be umpire's call, and England keep their review.
Heather Knight chews her nails, looks nervously up at the big screen.
Do like a review because you can see all of the England team. Heather Knight's just playing to the camera, doing some stretches. a grin on her face. She's going, I'm on the telly. Look at me.
Still waiting for ball track. It has to build, I think. Here we go.
Ball tracking.
Right then. Impact in line, wicket.
And umpire's call. I'm going to go back to Sue on field.
Not
So
out.
stay with your original not out decision. Thank you.
I mean, it is out. Do you know what I mean? It was going to hit the stubs because it was hitting quite a big chunk of it, but it's not out. Right, I'm getting out the way. Stefan Schemmelt is hovering with intent.
Well, it was a good review by England because they keep that review as it was umpire's call. Had that have been given out, it would have been out.
Hold on, we're just going to have one more ball. Here comes Eccleston bowling. Forward in defence comes Lee. Into the offside. Thinks about a single that isn't there.
Well, I was ready for my second ball of the game to commentate, but you've taken that opportunity away from me. Gutted.
There's a slip, a silly point and a short leg for Eccleston. It's bowling to Lee with plenty of air. It's driven up towards mid-off. Cross does the fielding. I didn't think it looked right. Just always thought it looked like it was drifting down the leg side. On first look, I'm not being wise after the event.
Spinners Union, I thought that was out.
Of course. Eccleston, long ponytail, into Lee, prods forward in defence, push it back to the bowler. South Africa 84 for 4, they need another 49 to make England bat again. Lee, batting in her glasses, underneath a green batting helmet. This one's defended again on the front foot. It's going to be a long day for South Africa if this is the way they're going to play Sophie Eccleston.
Be a tough day as well. Sophie Eccleston has got a really good arm ball. I wonder when we'll see that from Eccleston.
Last ball of the over. Eccleston throws out her arms. Balls to Lee, who looks for a cut shot. Dabbed it behind point. There's a chase for Emma Lamb up towards the river stand. Deep third boundary. Lee takes a couple. It's the end of the over. South Africa are 86 for 4. They trail by 47. Commentary will continue on 5 Sports Extra and via the BBC Sport website and app. But for listeners on Radio 4 long wave, you're leaving us briefly for the shipping forecast. Alex Hartley's made way for Georgia Elwis. We're going to see some Izzy Wong.
Yeah, good.
It's about time.
It is about time. It's been it's a lot later, her introduction into the attack, than I thought it would be this morning. Maybe she's a little bit stiffer and tired. They said that they were going to have to manage her workloads over this test match, but I think she'll be one who, when she's got the ball in her hand, I think Heather Knight's going to find it very difficult to take it off her.
If you haven't seen Izzy Wong's spell from last night, go to the BBC Sport website and watch it. It was absolutely thrilling stuff, almost in the dark really. Wong tearing in from our end, she's at the far end now. 2 for 8, she removed Goodall and Wolfart. Now she's got Sekakuni in her sights and bowling, and instantly everything just looks that little bit quicker with Izzy Wong bowling as Sekakuni angles the ball towards point. 3 slips, gully, point, mid-off. Sophia Dunkley at mid-on with the wicket-keeping pads underneath her trousers. Tammy Beaumont, who's been permanently posted at short leg so far today, and then Lauren Bell away to our right at long leg. Wong 25 on her back, very short hair, she's got an earring in her left ear, angled approach, long approach, running in on her tiptoes to Sekakune. He's hit on the pad, but that's heading well down the leg side, trickles behind square, leg by taken. South Africa on to 87 for 4, they trail by 46. I think we're pretty safe in the knowledge that for England to win this game they're going to have to complete a run chase at some point. How big it will be, we don't know, do we, Phil?
We don't. Izzy Wong's figures from last night in that, you say, that thrilling spell in the dark, under floodlights, 6 overs, 2 maidens, 2 for 8.
It was brilliant test cricket, well worth the wait. I worked out that around those 2 rain breaks yesterday we had 8 overs in just under 6 hours. Eventually got back on at 6:30 thanks to the perseverance of the ground staff and the patience of the umpires, and I think England basically getting in their ribs saying we want to play tonight. It was worth it. Wong's now bowling to Lizelle Lee, who's pulling powerfully round the corner, to Lauren Bell, who does a very good stop actually, sliding on her knees. It's a long way down for Lauren Bell, but she got down to her left. Good cricket all round. Wong trying the bouncer to Liz Ali. Good shot and good fielding. 88 for 4.
Yeah, it's particularly impressive from Lauren Bell because she's having to run about 100 yards as each time the batters changed with the left hand and the right hand. So ball before she made a big dash over there just to do a good sprint stop and then just to do another 100 yards back. Now the left-hander's back on strike.
Wong's coming round the wicket to left-handed night watcher Sekakune, who's got long hair flowing down her back. That's on the pads, turned towards mid-on. They think about a single, it's not there. South Africa trail by 45. Sekakune has chewed up 61 deliveries as the night watcher for her 9 runs. It's what we were talking about earlier. There is nothing more annoying in cricket for a fielding team than a night watcher hanging around.
Yeah, she's played nicely, hasn't she? She's looked quite assured in defence. Wong's really been the only bowler that's troubled her for pace.
Standing really still, Sekakune, as Wong bowls. It's well down the leg side. Amy Jones has to dive to her right. She can only get a paw on it. Parried around the post. South Africa rather take a bye. 89 for 4. Deficit's 44. After this over, there's still 92 overs left in the day, so it's a long old time for England to force a result. To put it in common Test match terms, there's still more than an entire day of men's Test cricket to go in terms of overs. Wong bowling to the edge, dropped by Amy Jones. It was going really, really quickly to the wicket-keeper's right. She was on one knee, throwing out her right hand, and it plopped down between her and first slip Heather Knight. Definitely the wicket-keeper's catch. Standing very close because the ball isn't carrying, but that's what Izzy Wong does. She makes things happen. There's no need for Liz Ali to play at that. It was a wafty cut shot, thick edge, but Amy Jones couldn't cling on. Liz Ali gets a life on 13. End of the over. South Africa 89 for 4.
Yeah, you can see the disappointment Izzy Wong's face, but also Amy Jones. She's such a good wicket keeper. You'd expect her to take that. Just surprised. I think she only ended up getting one hand to it. And whether that's because it's gone so quickly, the extra bounce and pace of Wong, but Amy Jones will be very disappointed with that.
Helicopter flying overhead as Eccleston bowls. That's it. Tammy Bowman at short leg. It pops up. Could have gone anywhere from Sekakune. It was off the face of the bat. It's hit Tammy Beaumont somewhere, and there was a fielder at mid-wicket rushing in as well to try and grab the rebound, Emma Lamb. From nowhere, things are happening, and it's what we said earlier on, Georgia. Wong and Eccleston, they're the bowlers that are going to trouble South Africa more than anything. Eccleston again to Sekakune, who defends into the onside. Catches all around the left-hander. Slip, silly point, short leg, short cover, short mid-wicket. Eccleston's bowling left arm over behind what has to be said some pretty horrific blue sunglasses. Down the leg side, Sekakune wants a pull shot. Lee's coming through for a single. Short fine leg, Izzy Wong couldn't cut it off. 90 for 4, trailed by 43. What a bit of luck that would. Do you know what England actually needed that for Tammy Bowman? They needed to hit her on the helmet.
Yeah, they did.
It would have carried further in the air. Laws changed not long ago whereby it's not a dead ball if it hits a fielder's helmet. Round the wicket now is Eccleston. Now this is in the air from Lee. Lauren Bell diving backwards at mid-on. It plops over her. Another stroke of fortune for Lee because she was not in control of that shot. And South Africa are going to run back for 3. If England wanted anyone underneath that, it was Lauren Bell, by far the tallest player in the match. Running backwards, but just a flailing arm and a dive. Couldn't get anything on it. You can't call it a chance. But England will be buoyed by what's happened over the past 5 deliveries. 1 clear chance and 2 half chances. What's going to happen now? Sekakune on 10, the night watcher. Eccleston left arm over, outside the off stump, left alone. I think we all need to take a breath, Georgia.
No, absolutely. Out of nowhere. We've had, like you said, 1 serious clear chance and then 2 half chances, but the energy is up out there. England girls can sense something.
Eccleston to complete the over to Sekakune again outside the off stump. That's a good lead, good judgment from the left-hander, knowing that Eccleston's got the ability to turn the ball back into the stumps. But on this occasion it goes safely by. South Africa 93 for 4. They trail by 40. Sekakune 10, Lee 16. 91 overs left in the day. I hope you haven't got plans. Stick with us, because as you've seen in the past over and a bit, plenty of drama to come in this women's test match.
All of a sudden got very exciting out there, hasn't it? Is that introduction of Wong? Something about her, the way she goes about her business, creating chances. He said her and Eccleston, 2 keys for England.
And it's Wong versus Lee once more. She's charging in. Izzy Wong beats Lee outside the off stump. Lee crabbing across her stumps, poking at the ball as it just arcs away from the bat. Go and have a look on the BBC Sport website at the drop catch from Amy Jones. It'll be up there shortly. Judge for yourself how difficult a chance it was. On first look, straightforward because of how close it is to Amy Jones, but she is so close to the stumps. It came rapidly towards the wicketkeeper. Wong comes sprinting towards us. Both of them stand behind her. Lee drives up towards mid-off. No run. 93 for 4. Did you see yesterday, Georgia, how Finlay Bean had made a triple century for Yorkshire's second 11 against Nottinghamshire?
I did see that, yeah.
He's now 404 not out.
Goodness me.
Decent.
Very impressive.
Just seen the replay of that Jones catch. He almost grabbed it on the way down. Three slips, gully, short leg go down. Wong bowls to Liz Ali, who's finally found some good judgment outside the off stump and lets one go.
It's very unlike Amy Jones, isn't it? There's been a couple of instances this test match where she's not taken the ball cleanly, but I think for her as well, we talk about the bowlers wanting the Duke's ball. Obviously it makes it much more difficult behind the stumps to take.
The other thing, Amy Jones, I don't think will have done this much standing back in a long, long time. When Catherine Brunt and Anya Shrubsole was in the side, she stood up quite a lot. She hasn't stood up to Kate Cross. Wong bowling to Lee again, beating Lee outside the off stump. It's outstanding bowling from Izzy Wong. She's bowling with good pace, and she's testing, teasing, examining the technique of Liz Ali with just a hint of movement away from the right hander. Look at that, how that's moved, almost like a leg break away from Lee. 93 for 4.
Yeah, it really is beautiful bowling. She knows it. To straighten up her line, tiny little bit here. But she is really showing her class. She's such a young age, on test debut. It's easy to forget that when she's charging in.
Shirt untucked, Wong bowls, driven by Lee over mid-off for 4. Almost a release of pressure, really. Lee know that she's under so much stress, really, from this examination from Izzy Wong, and it was a bit of a white ball shot to play the ball over mid-off for 4. 97 for 4, Lee on to 20.
Yeah, and I think that England won't mind that. They'll like to see these shots because they'll know that there's only snick just around the corner. If they can keep enticing her into big shots, more chance of getting her out.
Last ball of the over, Wong bowls to Lee. This is pulled at a short ball. Is it in the air? Goes for 4. I fell well short, actually, of Lauren Bell, who was diving forwards. There was cries of catch. I'll be honest, Georgia, I lost it, but I don't know how close it was to carrying to Lauren Bell. In the end, another 4 runs added to the total. South Africa 101 for 4. See the replay. Here we go. It's pulled. Where's that bounced? Well in front of Lauren Bell. Either way, it's absolutely thrilling test cricket, because you are seeing at one end a pace bowler charging in, causing problems for the batter, and at the other end a masterful spinner trying to prize them out.
It's fantastic viewing, isn't it? And now Lizelle is playing her shots. She's going after the ball. She's been aggressive. Deficit now just 32, but England won't mind. Be happy to see aggressive shots.
Eccleston to Sekakune, complete change of pace as Sekakune defends. It's almost as if Liz Ali has decided, if I just try to hang around against Izzy Wong, I'm going to get out. I've got to counterpunch.
Yeah, absolutely. I think she only knows that one way to play.
Eccleston bowls to Sekakuni, defends again. Remember, Lizelle Lee was the ICC Women's Cricketer of the Year last year for her form in white ball cricket. We're talking about one of the premier limited overs batters in the world. 5 catches for Eccleston to Sekakuni. Plenty of air outside the off stump. Sekakuni drives almost on one knee. The chase for Emma Lamb to cover. 1 taken, 102 for 4.
Yeah, and you feel like Lizelle Lee is on 24 now off 31 deliveries. She's scoring at a good rate. If she hangs around for another 10 or so overs, that deficit is quickly going to disappear, and then all of a sudden South Africa will be buoyed by what they can get out of this game.
Eccleston's round the wicket to Lizelle Lee. That's down the leg side. Lee makes no attempt to play the ball. What's the difference in scoring this morning, please, Phil? It feels like it was a very quiet opening half an hour, 45 minutes, and then since then South Africa have scored more freely, possibly when they've even been put under more pressure. Lee waits, digs out a full ball back to Eccleston, the bowler. What are we thinking of those sunglasses, Georgia? It looks like she's about to go skiing, doesn't it?
She's got a blue pair, and she's got a bright pink pair as well. I'm sure we'll see later on in the summer.
It's down the leg side, Lee sweeping towards Izzy Wong at short fine leg. Wong can't gather it, and Sekakune was already halfway down looking for the single, so she gets through. End of the over. There's been 45 in total in the innings, 89 or 88 I think that's going to tick down to remaining in the day. South Africa 103 for 4. They're 30 behind, and the players are going to take drinks on the final morning of this women's test at Taunton.
Yeah, 10 runs in the first 11 overs this morning. In the subsequent 9 overs we've had since then, 38.
Yeah, so just wonderful contest, really. England creating chances, one clear one and then 2 half ones, all in the space of about 7 deliveries. And South Africa deciding the way to respond, Lizelle Lee in particular, was to throw some bombs of her own. And it's created a fascinating passage. And almost, George, I didn't want that drinks break. I wanted to carry on.
Yeah, it is fascinating, the momentum shift. Lizelle Lee's come out, she's given a few chances, but she's hit some nice shots as well, and she's always going to play in that aggressive way. She's got a good partner at the other end who looks good in defence. She's keeping the scoreboard ticking along, and Lizelle Lee, I think she's made up her mind the way she's going to play, hasn't she?
South Africa began the day on 55 for 3. The deficit in total 133. They lost Sune Lee's LBW to Kate Cross for 10. That was 64 for 4. Since then, they've moved on to 103 for 4. Sekakune, the night watcher, on 11, adding 10 to her overnight score. And Lizelle Lee, 25. Lee was dropped on 13 by Amy Jones off the bowling of Izzy Wong. And then in the next over, Sekakune turned one into short leg Tammy Beaumont. It hit her shoulder, looped into the air, ultimately safely, could have gone anywhere. But that's what England will be thinking. We've got to take 6 wickets. It's that simple to do. But the dynamic will soon shift when South Africa go into the lead. I don't think South Africa can win this game. It's a very, very small chance. It'd be something absolutely remarkable. Well, Lizelle Lee's at the crease, who knows? Something else remarkable happened this morning, Georgia, on our walk to the ground. So we were pretty close to the point that the flats away to our left, they were in sight. We were that close to the ground, and there was quite a large black dog just outside its owner's house. And Henry Moran said to me, "What do you reckon, friend or foe?" I said, "I'm not getting involved in this." And Henry, giving it the big un, he went to the dog. "Hello." And the dog nearly had his hand off. And I've never seen anyone move so quickly. It entertained me greatly that Henry was trying to make friends with the local canines and almost lost a finger.
I mean, it was enormous, the dog, wasn't it?
It's huge, almost a
Four of
horse.
us crossed the road to avoid it, but Henry, no, he took it on.
He's sitting at the back of the box with a smile on his face, pleased that he's still got all 10 digits on his hands.
So foe.
Well, definitely. Foe to Henry, friend to everyone else. It's lovely and sunny in Taunton at the moment. We have had just a few showers. We think there might be some rain forecast this afternoon, so that's another dynamic to add to the drama. England chasing their first Test win since 2014, their first home win since 2005. Does that mean you never played in a home Test win, Georgia?
Nope. Couple of losses and a draw.
So we're talking about World Cup winners such as yourself going so long without tasting victory on home soil in a Test match. Felt like a long drinks break that, but the players are now back in position, and we're once again going to resume the box office contest between Issy Wong and Lizelle Lee. Young firebrand fast bowler, aggressive batter. Wong bowling to Lee, straight ball that Lee defends. Back to the bowler, 3 slips, gully, point, mid off, and then the leg side field. There is just a short leg, Tammy Beaumont, and no one else around her until you get to a deep square leg and a deep long leg. 2 fielders away to our left in front of the flats. So Wong challenging Lee in all sorts of ways, trying to bring the slips into play, but also with the short ball in her armoury. Bowling to Lee now. Now this is slashed over mid-off. Wide ball. Fetch that, says Lizelle Lee. Probably the loosest delivery that Issy Wong has bowled, and Lizelle Lee's given it the beans for 4 up towards long off. 107 for 4.
This is a lovely, lovely shot, reminiscent of Lizelle Lee in white ball cricket. A ball that most of the South African batters would have let happily go through to Amy Jones, but Lizelle Lee has swung hard at that. There's no fielder out at mid-off, so he's connected with it well.
It's like the 12th round of a heavyweight contest with just them slugging and throwing bombs at each other. Wong tries again outside the off stump. This time Lee lets it go, but it wasn't too different from the one she just belted over mid-off. Deficit's only 26 now. Lee's got 29 from 37. She's hit 3 4s in her last how many deliveries that she's faced from Issy Wong?
That 4 earlier in the over was her 3rd in 4 balls from Issy Wong.
4 balls. 2 of them are up to long off, and another pull shot down to long leg. Wong leans forward in her approach, explodes into her action. Lee times this one nicely, jamming it through the covers. There's a long chase for Sophia Dunkley. Lee and Wong almost tangle at the non-striker's end as the South African turns for the second. Issy Wong wouldn't have wanted to get in her way. 109 for 4. Lee on to 31.
I wonder if she should have just had a quick word in there. She ran past her.
Who?
Issy Wong.
Do you think she would have done?
She might have. Just let her know that she's still coming. She's still going to be charging in.
She comes towards us, bowling till it's clipped off the toes. He's heading down the leg side, very full delivery, down towards long leg. Everyone can just take a breath. Issy Wong's just walked towards actually Lizelle Lee at the non-striker's end. 1 added to the score, 110 for 4. That was not the most direct route to the end of Issy Wong's run-up. She made a point of walking towards Lizelle Lee. I reckon you're right, Georgia. There's been a word there.
Oh, it's fantastic to watch, isn't it? All the experience of Lizelle Lee. Issy Wong on Test debut is not afraid to let her know that she's there.
Partnership's worth 46. Wong round the wicket to left-handed Sekakune, who pushes once and 1. It's only gone to the bowler, and now Issy Wong has thrown it. Some overthrows. It might even be 4. Lauren Bell trying to get around, won't get there. Bizarre passage of play. Sekakune driving the ball back to the bowler, set off for the single. Wong picked it up, saw that Sekakune was out of her ground, threw at the striker's end, missed. Amy Jones couldn't gather it, picked up 4 overthrows, brings up the 50 partnership. South Africa 114 for 4. Everything that's happened in the past 20 minutes or so leaves me needing a lie down. Here comes Melissa Story. Georgia Elvis, try to make sense of that.
Oh, goodness me. And Issy Wong's only got herself to blame. Sekakune plays a forward defensive and gets 4 runs for it. And yeah, Issy Wong is getting a bit caught up in all the excitement of everything that's going on. One just needs to have a quiet word with her, calm her down.
Yeah, in the end that over went for 11 runs.
Eccleston continues and pushing off the front foot as Lee to the bowler for no run. That passage of play almost reminded me of the Farley Verma, Catherine Brunt dramas of last summer, where you've got quite an experienced senior player and a young feisty player battling it out, exchanging a few words as Eccleston floats this one up, and it's pushed back past her by Lee, who's 32 of 41 balls now.
Yeah, it's fantastic to watch, isn't it? It's adding another dimension to this game. Game within a game, a little battle between the two.
Eccleston bowls, pushed on the front foot by Lee, carefully into the onside. 114 for 4. Did you ever have any battles out on the field, Georgia Elvis?
I had plenty. The white line fever, as they call it.
Eccleston in, and that just goes past the hands of Sophia Dunkley, I think, there, and under the helmet. On the offside, another dot ball. This is a good over so far from Eccleston. She comes in, arms swinging, and this is slog swept by Lee all the way to the boundary. 4 runs. It was a carefully played shot there from Lee. She got really forward and absolutely dispatched that away to the boundary. She moves on to 36. South Africa 118 for 4.
Yeah, it's great counter punching, isn't it, from Lizelle Lee here. She doesn't want to just sit in, wait for a wicket to be taken. She wants to have some fun out there.
It's not often you see players going after Eccleston as well. So she'll have to think of a reply here as Eccleston comes in. That's a leg stump line flicked into the shin of Tammy Beaumont. That short leg. And that completes the over. Eccleston, hands on her head, following that over. She doesn't seem too happy, probably following that boundary. But South Africa 118 for 4. Trail by just 15 runs now. And it's all happening out there in the middle. So these battles, was there any particular ones you remember, or any certain players where you always seem to hash it out in the middle?
Not particularly. I think that the worst ones were when we had to play internal games against each other. Oh, and that was horrible.
The old Hampshire-Sussex fixture, I believe at the start of this year, was always an interesting one between friends, as Wong in and left by Sakakuna through to the keeper behind the stumps, because of course with the Southern Vipers setup you're involved with is predominantly Hampshire and Sussex players, but in the women's domestic tournament you have 3 weeks of county cricket, almost I think it was in April this year. It's a bit nippy, but you see all the domestic players return to their counties for a few weeks of T20 before joining their domestic setups. There's always some good rivalries in those early season fixtures. As Wong charges in short, takes the edge of the bat and drops just short of third slip. It was a good short pitch delivery from Izzy Wong, and Kate Cross there in the slip cordon. It took her a bit by surprise, but the ball hit almost the top of Sekakuna's bat, and that took all pace off that edge behind. It's never going to carry to Kate Cross, who's clutching her heart. I hope she's okay. We may need a rotational slip policy just to give her a breather. As Wong in for low full toss and an appeal from the fielders, the bowler for LBW, but it looked as if it was sliding down the leg side. Izzy Wong walks down the pitch to have a talk to her captain, and they decide not to review it in the end.
Yeah, I think that's a good decision. Looked to the naked eye like it was going down, and umpire Anna Harris has been very good in this game. Yes, seems to be going a long way down the leg side, so good choice not to review it. I've actually been really impressed with Wong and Bell in their decision making for using the review system. 2 young bowlers who won't have used it before.
Wong, far river end, bowls, and that's another in-swinger, another appeal for LBW. Again, the slight look behind from Wong. They're less keen on this one, England. But they're building up this pressure nicely, and it's forced the two batters in the middle to come together for a little chat. Lizelle Lee passing on some of her wisdom to Sakakuna, the night watcher. And we get a replay of that LBW, which was soaring down the leg side. It may have hit a fifth wicket, a fifth stump that is, but good pressure being built by England as South Africa close in on their trail. Wong, fists pumping, bowls in swing to Sakakuna, pushed back to her for no run. 118 for 4. Your point about the younger bowlers and their review making, I definitely agree with, because we were talking at the beginning of the game and perhaps questioning whether we'd see a few Stuart Broads out there in the middle, because it is tempting when you don't always have the technology available. You come into a big test match, you've got 3 reviews, but they've shown maturity not only in their bowling but in their decision making out there too, as that short and soaring down the leg side from Wong. Fantastic take by Amy Jones behind the stumps, a one-handed dive to her right, and that finishes off the over. Izzy Wong's figures now 2 for 28 of 10 overs, and South Africa 118 for 4, trailing by 15 runs. Sakakuna, the night watcher, 15 out there in the middle. And Phil, I was going to ask, is Sakakuna's highest scores, obviously she bats down the order a bit, where is this innings ranking in her career figures? I'll set you a little challenge. There's a discussion going on between Eccleston and Siva Knight, the experienced players in the team, and Alex Hartley has rejoined us in the commentary box, former World Cup winner.
Yes, we've got the Brains Trust all having a gander and all having a thought and just moving the troops around. They try and get this field right to Lizelle Lee, who's played some lovely shots.
She has, and it's been good to see her transfer that almost one-day batting style into this match. We've seen a few explosive innings, but her strike rate's really up there. And it's always difficult batting in the fourth innings of a game when the pitch is a bit slow and turning a little bit. Inconsistent bounce. As Eccleston into Lee, who's pushing off the front foot, into the covers. No run.
I now like that we've got Sophia Dunkley at a floating mid-wicket, 3/4 of the way out, just in case Lizelle Lee does go for that big shot into the leg side.
Eccleston prances in, and that's defended from the crease by Lee. She's playing a good innings in the sense as well that even the big shots she's played haven't felt risky. They've been well calculated.
They have. She looks good at the crease. The best we've seen her in Test match cricket.
Eccleston bowling straighter, push back to her.
But she didn't have to get many more to be better than she had been previously. Only played this her second Test match, 7 years between the two.
We'll let her off. As Eccleston bowls, Fulham flicked off the pads by Lee. One bounce to the fielder at mid-wicket position. It's an interesting field, as you mentioned, because there's that fly cow corner, you could say, where Sophia Dunkley is, but also Lauren Bell at mid-on is probably 3/4 of the way to the boundary. As Eccleston bowls, and this is dropped down and pushed away by Lee.
And what happens when you have those floating fielders? Lizelle Lee now thinks, well, I can't go over the top. I've got to play a safer innings. I can't take those risks. And if I do, I really have to connect.
Eccleston waits behind the umpire. Goes into bowl, and this is swiped away in the air. The fielder's underneath it. And the catch is taken for England. That's the breakthrough. Lizelle Lee gone, playing the big shot. And just listen to what that means. England all gather together, the group huddle. Fantastic catch running back over her shoulder, and Lizelle Lee dismissed, playing a token one-day shot, and the score 118 for 5.
Lizelle Lee looking to go up and over the offside because we have those floating leg side fielders, and that's a great catch from Kate Cross. The ball was angling away to her from her left-hand side. She watches the ball, she follows it, she takes a good tumbling catch to her left. And England get the key wicket of Lazelli, who looked very good at the crease, who just looked like she was trying to accelerate. She goes for 36, her highest test score. And that brings Marizanne Kapp to the crease. But England will feel like they have an opening here. Marizanne Kapp has had a very busy 3 days. That 150 in the first innings and then bowled a lot for South Africa.
Yeah, she departed the field after South Africa's innings looking quite deflated, a bit stiff. I think she more hobbled off the pitch, but she'll know she has a role here in this innings. They trail England by 15 still, and I mean, what target do you think South Africa, if any, are they just going to try and bat the day, or what's the most defendable total or the minimum score they would need to get?
I think they'll just try and bat the day, bat for the draw. If you lose a test match early on in this multi-format series, that's 4 points to England, and that's a lot of games that you have to then win. If you go into the test match and it's drawn, 2 points apiece, and then you go into the ODI series, 3 of those, 3 T20s, 2 points available for every single one of those wins. We have got some bad weather coming in as well this afternoon, and those clouds are getting darker and darker to our left-hand side.
Izzy Wong then to Marizanne Kapp, bowls, and that's fast, pushed back to point, and Marizanne Kapp will be looking to, as you mentioned, emulate that fantastic innings, 150, where she was the anchor probably for South Africa in their innings.
Just watching a replay of that catch from Kate Cross, she had to track the ball until the very last minute, meaning she had to tumble away. Probably Lazelli thought for a split second that she got away with it, but brilliant catch from Kate Cross.
Izzy Wong charging in from the river end, that's edged and falls short of Sophie Ecclestone at second slip. The ball went flying off the edge of Kapp's bat. Ecclestone responded quickly, but the ball just bouncing inches before her outstretched hands. Izzy Wong making things happen out there in the middle.
I don't know if that bounced, I don't know if that was a drop catch as we see the replay. It did, sorry, my bad. It dropped ever so slightly in front of Sophie Ecclestone. But Izzy Wong is asking questions here at the South African batters.
It's a battle in the middle as Wong charges in again, and that's past the edge of Kapp's bat. Through to Amy Jones, and suddenly the volume in the ground's just rising.
Well, this has been brilliant from Izzy Wong. She's cranked up the pace from day one. She keeps beating the outside edge. She's bowling that nice channel just outside the off stump to bring slips into play. She's had a drop catch from Amy Jones not so long ago. But I think after today, we will be seeing a lot more of Izzy Wong in international cricket. She has been very, very good.
She tosses the ball to herself at the top of her mark and runs in, arms swinging and defending from the creases. Kapp into the offside. 118 for 5 the score.
The thing for Kapp here is she'll have a tired body, a tired mind. Is she able to stay switched on and get South Africa through this passage of play before the rain comes? South Africa know that rain is just a couple of hours away, an hour away, maybe not even. We don't know when it's turning up. The weather forecast doesn't know.
They haven't given us an ETA, so we're going blind here. As Wong bowls full, driven down the ground by Kapp. That is a spectacular shot, and it races away to the boundary cushions for 4 runs. She's a batter in form, Marizanne Kapp, and the score moves on to 122 for 5 after that boundary.
It's a lovely shot that from Kapp. Just a slight bit of a way swing from Izzy Wong. Too full. Wong shouldn't be disheartened by that, because just get that length right. That does bring slips into play. That's why there's no mid-on, to entice the drive down the ground.
Izzy Wong bowling to Kapp in, left alone outside that off stump and overcalled. 122 for 5 South Africa. And there's a tweet which has very correctly mentioned that there's a Thunder cricket wicket.
Yes.
The partnership, the duo of Ecclestone and Cross. And he said that this Jack Rule, he said that you can't keep Kate Cross out of this game. She has been, you must be so proud.
I am. Best friend Kate Cross of mine, No Balls the Cricket podcast co-host. I just think she just loves Test match cricket, you know, and the fact that she got so excited that the Duke's ball was available. She got 4 wickets on day one, bowled fantastically. You can't keep her out the game.
Eccleston just making a few adjustments to the field. Sekakuna there is completely surrounded in there, the middle. 2 slips in place now. As Eccleston bowls straight, driven into the offside by Sekakuna. No run taken. Now, I have a fantastic stat I found on Twitter about your friend Kate Cross.
Yes.
That she now has the most women's Test wickets for a bowler whose surname ends in Os. Overtaking Zoe Goss's 20 wickets as Eccleston bowls shorter, punched off the back foot into the offside.
Well, even that's a stat that Phil would struggle to find.
So it's Kate Cross, England, 20 wickets. Zoe Goss, Australia, 20 wickets. This was before Kate Cross's wicket. And there's also, as Eccleston bowls and left alone by Sekakuna, a cricketer called Barbara Cairncross for South Africa, but she never bowled. So there's only 2
definitely got more than her.
She's definitely got more than her. So there you go, Kate Cross, she's top of the Osses. Eccleston waits at the top of her mark, bowling to Sekakuna, who's dropping that just by her feet. This almost feels like a game of corridor cricket now, or stumps, whatever it's called, where the rule is no attacking shots. 1 hand, 1 bounce. It's all defensive from Sekakuna, who leaves that as the ball spins down the leg side.
That'll be encouraging for Eccleston. The ball, yes, it was angling down the leg side, but it did turn.
Sekakuna, the night watcher, is stuck out there in the middle. She's 15 not out. Eccleston bowls to her and she just dismissively leaves this alone as it goes down the leg side again, and that completes the over.
Yeah, you were asking earlier about Tumi Sekakuna's batting prowess. She made 9 not out in the first innings. She's 15 not out here, so that's 24 runs across this Test match. Her previous, let's have a look, 48 internationals for South Africa had garnered her 24 runs, so she's doubled her international total in this Test match.
She's looked very good.
She has, and some more thoughts on how England are going to find this next wicket from Alex Hartley, and then it'll be Henry Moran.
Well, you do feel like Izzy Wong is causing questions, and Marizanne Kapp just poking and prodding outside the off stump in the previous over. Wouldn't be surprised if England do get a catch in the slips.
Here comes Izzy Wong then, start of a new over. Kapp on strike is driving the ball crisply square on the offside for 4.
That's a lovely shot from Marizanne Kapp. Izzy Wong there, it was 2 full, almost Yorker length. Marizanne Kapp slaps her bat down, straight out the middle of the bat, past Emma Lamb at backward point. There was no need for anybody to chase that ball because it raced to the boundary.
Lovely shot. It's a fine piece of timing. But in some ways, England, it's part of the deal with Izzy Wong. She'll create chances. Might be the odd ball that travels, but she does create chances. South Africa 1-2-6 for 5, trailing by 7. Wong comes in again. It's a full swinging delivery on off stump, which is pushed out towards Dunkley at extra cover. If you missed the marvellous moment earlier where Alex proclaimed she could say the name Marcus Trescothick and then promptly
Marcus
failed.
Trescothick. I can say it.
You can say it, but you didn't earlier. And having boldly said you were gonna, it is on social media.
I do think everyone should go and listen to that because it is commentary gold. If I do say so myself.
You do say so yourself. Here comes Wong once more. Driven away again, this time a little bit further round. Not quite as square, but it's going to bring the same result, I fancy. Ball slowing up a touch, and Emma Lamb's pursuit is in vain. She's had a lot of running to do, old Emma Lamb, but she can't get there. And as the ball goes to a wide, deep third, 4 more runs to Marizanne Kapp, who's on to 12. South Africa 130 for 5, and now just 3 runs behind England.
Sue, you got Tammy's cap?
Has anybody got Tammy's cap? There we go. Sue's got it.
Sue,
where is Tammy's cap? She comes out of that short leg fielding position. She's going to come into the offside.
Sue's having to do quite a lot of running around. She's back to square leg. It's the umpire. Tammy's got her hat back. And Izzy Wong's going to bowl with 3 slips and a gully. It's jammed down into the turf and up towards the bowler. So the score, 130 for 5, trailing by 3.
Just slightly too full from Izzy Wong. She needs to just drag her length back 6 inches or so. Just allowing Marizanne Kapp to get on top of the ball and hit her into the offside. If she just bowls that back of her length delivery, that's where she was causing problems. But she's just trying to bowl quick, and that's what happens when you're trying to get the ball down there as fast as you can.
Wong running in, arms and legs pumping in towards us. Kapp waiting. Oh, that's so close to the off stump. Oh, there's 2 types of leave.
As Izzy Wong bites her t-shirt to say that was a very good leave, Marizanne Kapp, as Izzy Wong there nipping the ball back off the surface, so we know that she bowls these nice little away swingers. And that one there not swinging and nipping back ever so slightly just misses Marizanne Kapp's off stump. But as you say, 2 types of leave.
Well, actually, there is a third that's been added.
Oh no, go on.
Wait, hold on, here comes Izzy Wong. Final ball of the over. Sprinting in, driven up towards mid-off. There'll be no run. 130 for 5. Kapp on 12, Sekakuni on 15. South Africa trail by 3. Do you remember in the Ashes when Ben Stokes was bowled, well, with shouldering arms, and the ball clipped the top of off stump and didn't dislodge the bails?
How could I forget?
So that is a bad leave.
But a good leave.
But a good leave.
Okay, so there's a good leave, a bad leave, and a good bad leave.
Yeah.
Nice, I like that.
The good, the bad, and the good bad.
Sam Cook had one of those in the county championship this year, exactly the same manner. Clipped the top of off stump, and the bail firmly sat in its place.
Yeah. I like it when a bail shows a bit of character.
Yeah, get the heavy ones on.
Is it Lingdon Vitae, I think they're called. Here comes Eccleston. 2 slips and figures round the bat as the ball is drilled into the turf and collected by the bowler, who runs around to pick up wearing those very loud sunglasses.
I reckon Sophie Eccleston's got a few pairs. She's got a bright pink pair that she likes for one days. She's got some blue ones on today.
Eccleston is in. Sekakuni waits, defends with all the time in the world. We've got a short leg, a silly point, 2 slips, short extra cover, shortish mid-wicket, a mid-on, a mid-off, and a backward point. Plenty of figures round the bat.
Could we see a bit of Emma Lamb turning the ball away from the left-hander?
That's a point. Eccleston in. Over the wicket, bowling to Sekakuni. He hits the ball aerially, it drops 4 or 5 yards short of Lamb at backward point. Eccleston starting to pose a problem or two here. He's taken 1 wicket in this second innings. Shines that ball, long sleeves, tall figure, blonde hair tied up. And moves in now. Past umpire Sue Redfern. That's left alone by Sekakuni, who's been excellent, I have to say. She's 15 from 87 balls. As night watching goes.
Well, she's day watching now. She got through the night. Got a good story about a night watcher, and I think it was Stefan Schemmelt that told me this story.
Alright, here comes Eccleston. Moving into bowl. And that one turns sharply and is worked round the corner past Tammy Beaumont. And will yield probably just the 1 run. Indeed, it is just a single. Ball left of this over, 1-3-1 for 5.
So they were playing the longer format of the game and sent in a night watchman, and never done it before, and thought he had to stay there all night. Couldn't leave.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
Surely not.
Yeah, apparently true story.
Who was that night watchman that came out and their innings was 6? They made 6 and faced 2 balls. I can't remember who it was, which I love. Eccleston around the wicket to bowl to Kapp, who's forward in defence watchfully. End of the over, 1-3-1 for 5. South Africa trailed by just 2. Just coming out, smacking the ball over the ropes and then getting out.
Definitely didn't get the memo, did they?
You're the night watcher.
Come on.
You see us through the day. Or you could do what Sekakuni did and just get 1 off with 5 balls to go and let the captain do the hard work.
Well, indeed. I've had a little bet with Stefan, and I like having these wagers with Schemmelt because do you remember in the World Cup when I bet all of my shoes?
Yes.
That West Indies wouldn't beat Australia in the World Cup semi-final.
Yes, I do. Very good bet that,
It
because
was.
we had great visions of you leaving the hotel with no shoes on.
Well, yeah, and then the next day, if Alice Davison-Richards replacing Izzy Wong at the River End, and if Australia won, he had to take me to the cinema with the full works, popcorn, big drink, everything.
So what's this week's?
This week's, well, it's basically one because he's been annoying me over the last 24 hours. But no, he has. He's been really irritating by claiming weather apps are a waste of time. Here comes Alice Davison-Richards running into bowl, left alone by Sekakune, the left hand, around the wicket. Davison-Richards, because he says, "Oh, there's no point looking. Just look outside. Look what's happening." And the point is, you're trying to find out what's going to happen.
Yes, but how often are they right?
Well, my wager is, because there are clouds building, and I've said to Steph that rain will start falling between 1:15 and 1:30.
Okay.
So that's any time after the next 25 minutes. And if it does, he can never say that again. Here comes Davison-Richards, left alone once again by Sekakune, a bit of a way shape.
And if it doesn't?
Then I will stop saying this is what's going to happen.
Okay. So it's not as good as
It's
the
not as
bet.
good as the shoes. There's no shoes involved.
It's not as good purely for the fact that there's no actual prize, is there?
No, there's no prize, but I mean, there's the prize of pride.
Yes.
Isn't there?
There's nothing better than a bit of pride.
And also, he gets so belligerent and grumpy. It's quite nice just to still put a sock in it. Here's Davison-Richards again. 3 slips in a gully. And Sekakune waiting, and again just watches that ball go on through.
It's the first time we're seeing this innings Alice Davison-Richards, ADR, and the second English cricketer to get 100 on debut and take a wicket. And do you know the other one?
No, go on.
W.G. Grace.
Ah, very good. Ah, here we go. Thank you. I had a text message. The night watchman I was recalling, out second ball for 6, Robin Marler. I just love it. Here comes Davison-Richards. Oh, that's very wide. Taken by Tumbling Jones, Anna Harris, who's got a good collection of pens in her jacket pocket that I can see. Signals wide. 1-3-2 for 5. They trail by 1. Do you know who's got an excellent pen collection, other than scorers, because scorers always do? Alison Mitchell.
Yes. And an excellent notepad, or notepads.
She's the neatest note taker in world cricket, I reckon.
Her Crufts notes are out of this world.
Aren't they? Davison-Richards bowling. That's a better ball. Just beginning to threaten the off stump.
Ali's also a big fan of the biro that's got 6 colours in it. You know, the one you...
That's the one where you push down and different colour pops out the end.
You ever tried to push them all down at once to get them all out?
Yeah, and you break it, and then I don't know where you could still find them.
Phil's pen collection is quite underwhelming, really, because he's actually just a black pen man, but with highlighter.
Yeah, Andy Zoltzman's like a travelling station.
You need a pen. Go to Zoltz.
Yeah. Alice Davison-Richards running in again. 2 balls left in this over. And that's full and defended up towards mid-on. It's a better ball. Starting to find a bit more rhythm here. 1-3-2 for 5. Yeah. Scorers, they've all got their own system. Yours takes quite a lot of paper. A lot of sheets get filled out.
It looks confusing as well.
Do you know what he does when no runs scored?
Puts a dot.
Put a dot.
Nice.
And then what's the orange? Is that change of bowler?
Yeah, orange for change of bowler.
Here comes Davison-Richards bowling to Sekakune, left alone outside the off stump, and the over concludes 1-3-2 for 5.
And orange in the batters column is 4 boundaries.
Right. There we go. It's quite neat.
Well, the only thing that needs to happen is that Phil understands his score sheets so we can ask him about them. So it doesn't matter that I think that's confusing. Phil understands. When I say, was that a maiden over? You can go, yes, Alex, it was. There's 6 dots on my piece of paper.
Yeah.
I used to score as a kid.
Did you?
Well, me and my friend Connor, he did the hard work and did the
scoring,
the writing, and I did the clunk, clunk, clunk on the scoreboard.
Oh, right, yeah, okay. Yeah, fun. Here comes Eccleston, start of a new over, Cap is forward in defence.
And I thought I had quite a good deal because we split the £20 in half.
Did you? And he was doing all the work.
And I was just going 1, 2, 3, 4 runs.
Yeah, fun, yeah. Here comes Eccleston. Forward comes Cap in defence. I imagine you were quite good at that.
Yes, but it's never good when you accidentally do an extra and you've got to go all the way around.
And they think that suddenly they've really started accelerating. In comes Eccleston, round the wicket, Cap forward again, smothering that ball, pushing it up as far as Davidson Richards at short extra cover. Still figures around the bat, silly point, short leg, there's just the one slip. And Eccleston emerges from behind Sue Redfern, and that's left alone by Cap.
It's got darker out there, and as I look to our left, those clouds do not look like nice clouds. They look like angry black clouds.
Not as angry as Stefan will be if I win. Here comes Eccleston, driven nicely, good piece of timing, and finds the gap as well. Through the offside, out to deep cover. Marizanne Kapp seeing that extra bit of width and punishing the ball as South Africa take the lead. 1-3-6 for 5, ahead by 3.
A lovely shot again there from Marizanne Kapp. Now, Phil, has she scored anything but boundaries yet? Because I don't think she has. So she's on 16 all boundaries.
4 fours.
And all she's done is punish the bad ball that England have bowled at her. That one was too full outside the off stump, easy for her to get on top of.
Eccleston in again. Forward comes Kapp, pushing the ball out towards Wong in the covers. And that is the end of the over. 1-3-6 for 5. It won't be lunch in 5 minutes. We've got until 1:30, at which point we'll have our journalist panel assembly, which I'm looking forward to. And we can reflect on a morning where South Africa have taken the lead. 2 wickets have fallen.
Tumiseka Kune, 16 off 94 balls. Marizanne Kapp, 16 off 19 balls.
Nice. I like that. The night watcher in there, not going anywhere. Kapp saying, got to get some runs from somewhere.
Oh, Davidson Richards begins the approach and looks as though she's seen something she doesn't like and is running away now. It was a proper, nope. Now begins the approach. Round the wicket to bowl to the left-handed Sekakuni, who's been excellent. And bowls now left alone. Nothing needed there. She can just watch that go on through. Amy Jones, who looks rather cold to me.
Well, it looks cold out there now.
There's a few hunched shoulders.
Yes. Hope the England girls have got hand warmers in their pockets for when that sun does disappear completely. Nothing worse than having cold hands on a cricket field, especially in the slips.
Here is Davidson Richards beginning with a hop and a skip and a dozen or so paces, running towards us. It's again just left alone by Sekakuni, who stands, holds the pose, and then takes a step to the leg side. Just happy to watch those on through on about a channel of about sort of 2 sets along, if you like. Heather Knight's got a smile on her face, the England skipper, standing at first slip alongside Sophie Eccleston. Who's that at third slip?
It's Kate Cross.
Is it? Here comes Davidson Richards again. Bowling to Sekakuni, that's well down the leg side. Jones doesn't quite collect cleanly and tumbles. She had a little bit of an untidy game, Amy Jones.
Yeah, she has. She's not had the best of games behind the stumps, Amy Jones. There's been a few fumbles, drop catch. Race to her, that catch behind off Izzy Wong, but one that she should have taken, and she's taken a lot better in her career. Maybe this Duke's ball is doing a little bit more than we're used to. The Kookaburra ball doesn't swing. This Duke's one does, and quite often or not, it can start moving when it goes past the stumps.
3 balls left in the over. Davidson Richards is running in past the umpire, down the leg side. Jones takes that clean, and there's half an appeal for a catch behind. Not out, says Anna Harris. And who are we to argue? Jones, I can see mouthing the words, not sure about that. And though it was a good take, it was not a take that's going to yield another wicket.
It's Tammy Bowman all the way at mid-on that we could hear then. None of the slips went up.
She was very enthusiastic.
Well, I always say that with LBs, it looks out from here when you stood at mid-on or mid-off.
Stefan's gone for a little weather check.
He'll be getting nervous, will
Don't
Stefan?
worry, Steph, I've got an app that'll tell you. Here comes Davidson Richards, running into bowl. Round the wicket again, left alone again. It's just not challenging the batter here, not forcing any stroke to be played.
No, it's very easy, Sekakuni, to just let the ball go past. It's not hitting the stumps. She's not bowling straight. It's short, it's wide. She can just watch the ball go past her, and she's doing her job very nicely.
Wheeling round far into the ground, Alice Davidson-Richards, broad of shoulder, charges in towards us. Bowls a full delivery, and she does have to play that, pushed away to the offside. The over concludes. Stefan Chemilty standing by after a few words from our scorer Phil Long.
Well, we just mentioned that Cap and Sekihune had similar scores, or had identical scores. It's now 100 balls faced for the Night Watcher.
Oh, how good. She's done an incredible job. We all sort of thought last night when she came out, is that the right call? Tell you what England will be happy about, the lights have just come on. So the England team bowling cartel will be licking their lips and rubbing their hands.
Two things. Sophie Eccleston's been bowling to Sekakune, the left-hander with a slip in her gully. I wouldn't mind seeing her there with a leg slip, bowling a touch straighter. She's going to bowl to the right-handed Marizanne Cap, who digs out a full one towards Dunkley at Silly Point. And the other thing, I think you called it right. England have tried 4 seamers this morning and have gone to a 5th in Alice Davidson-Richards and not the off-spin of Emma Lamb, turning the ball away from Sekakune. Eccleston outside the off-stump to Cap, lets it go. South Africa 1-3-6 for 5. They lead by 3. So just 2 things there that I think England could have tried, possibly missing a trick. Certainly the off-spinner.
Definitely the off-spinner to the left-hander. Just that point of difference, turning the ball away. Might as well try it. Give her a go. She bowled 2 overs in the first innings.
Eccleston bowls to Cap, who defends into the offside. There's no run. If you're expecting lunch, it's in half an hour, because we're making up some time on this final day for the overs that we lost to rain yesterday. 1-3-6 for 5, lead of 3. Cap on 16 as Eccleston shorter, flatter, quicker. Cap goes deep in her crease, punches it into the offside. It's not cleanly gathered by Izzy Wong. Doesn't have any effect on the fact that South Africa would have taken a single anyway. 1-3-7 for 5. It's got dark, Alex, but I would have known that
if you looked outside.
If I looked out the window.
So, but what you wouldn't know is Andy's been in touch and said, I'm down the road in Bridgewater and it's very wet.
We're not playing in Bridgewater. Eccleston bowls to Sekakune, defends into the offside, just falls short of Sophia Dunkley, the Silly Point fielder. But as I was talking about before, slip and a gully. Alice Davidson-Richards, can she go over to the leg side? Can she just challenge Sekakune on the hip? Ask her, are you going to turn it round the corner into the catcher's hands? There's some umbrellas going up around Taunton. Eccleston bowls to Sekakune, just like that. That ball on the hip. This one's turned quite square. It wouldn't have been where leg slip would have been. But can Eccleston force a mistake? Single taken, end of the over. South Africa 138 for 5. Now I think Henry Moran, as Alex Hartley leaves, is going to be replaced by George Earl with South Africa lead is 5. Henry Moran was adamant that the rain was going to arrive between 1:15 and 1:30, and he said if it arrives between 1:15 and 1:30 I can never criticise rain apps again. Well, it's coming now. In fact, just give me a yes or no on Twitter at BBC TMS. Rain apps, useful or not? I would say the easiest way to know if it's going to rain or not is to look out of the window. And he says they tell you what's going to happen. Don't need to know what's going to happen. I just want to know what's happening. Got that off my chest as Alice Davidson-Richards starts a new over. Outside the off stump to left-handed Sekakune, not threatening at all. Think of my theory, Georgia, that England would have been better off turning to Emma Lamb. Bowl some off spin at the left-hander instead of ADR's medium pace.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's a good shout. I think ADR is probably more of a bowler than Emma Lamb, so that would be why the night has turned to her. But
it's getting heavy. You can hear how heavy the rain is. We're not going to be on for too much longer. Davidson-Richards bowls down the leg side to Sekakune. Sue Redfern is looking from her position at square leg towards the covers. I think I've just seen Melissa Story get caught in the rain out in the stand down there. She's just had to run for cover. I can't believe that we're still on, actually. You can see how heavy it is. You look into the trees there, falling pretty steadily. Umbrellas up all around the ground. Spectators taking cover. Davidson-Richards into Sekakune. Drives past mid-off. That's a lovely stroke. As good as anything we've seen this morning. Izzy Wong's got a chase back towards the river stand. She slides just inside the boundary. South Africa come back for 2. I think that might be the last ball. 138 for 5, lead by 5. Anna Harris waves on the covers. I've won my bet with Henry Moran, and he never ever gets to ask me again about the effectiveness of weather apps. More importantly, the state of the game is that South Africa are 140 for 5. They lead by 7. Realistically, you would say it's been South Africa's morning. They started at 55 for 3. They've lost Sune Lees for 10. And then what followed was a thrilling battle between Izzy Wong and Lizelle Lee. Punch and counter punch. Lee was dropped on 13 by Amy Jones off the bowling of Izzy Wong. It prompted a counter punch from Lee, including some drives over mid-off and some pull shots. She eventually fell for 36, well held by Kate Cross, running backwards off the bowling of Sophie Eccleston. That was 118 for 5. South Africa was still 15 behind. But since then, the night watcher, Sekakune, who started the day on 1, has moved on to 19 not out, been joined by Marizanne Kapp, who has 17. South Africa 140 for 5. That means there's a lead of 7. In theory, there are 76 and a half overs left in the day, but time is now going to be eaten away by this rain shower, and England were frustrated yesterday. Georgia Elwys, we lost about half of the overs, and we're going to lose more time again, and it is belting down actually.
Yeah, they're going to be frustrated, aren't they, today? It's going to be one of those days where they're on and off all the time. The ground staff did a tremendous job yesterday getting the pitch fit for that hours session that we had last night, but I think they've bowled. I think it's been quite even this morning. I've really enjoyed the little battles that we've had over the course of the morning. I think the way that England started, they didn't give much away, did they? South Africa found it really difficult to score, but as soon as Lizelle Lee came in, gave the innings a bit of impetus, played the way she plays in white ball cricket, and very quickly that deficit was reduced. And South Africa seem to be growing in confidence the more that they're spending the time out there.
The thing that I'll remember most, Georgia, about the passage of play that we've seen this morning is that spell from Izzy Wong. She bowled 6 overs, conceded 32 runs and didn't take a wicket, but that doesn't tell anywhere near the story of what we saw. That battle with Lizelle Lee was some of the most thrilling Test cricket you could ever see.
Yeah, it was, absolutely, and I think that just shows you that stats don't tell the full story, do they? She had dropped a fairly regulation chance for Amy Jones behind the stumps that she couldn't cling on to. We mentioned how close the wicketkeeper and the slips are standing because of the lack of pace in the wicket, but Izzy Wong, the one bowler for England who is getting extra pace and bounce out of it because she is that little bit quicker. Amy Jones couldn't hold on, but the amount of time she beat the bat of Lizelle Lee, and it really was a thrilling watch, a thrilling battle. Lizelle Lee more than prepared to play her shots, and at any time there was a loose delivery from Wong, it was put away. But equally, Wong went past the bat on a number of occasions and would have felt like she was really in the game with each delivery.
It's almost becoming dark as night in Taunton. The red roll-on covers have been pushed on to cover the pitch. Now the white sheets are coming on for the bowlers' run-ups. The rain comes from our left over the flats and maybe a touch behind us actually, where the church is, just behind our commentary position. It is completely dark and grey away to our left. It might just be a touch of brightness, but I think that brightness is going past us. It's raining, I think, heavier than at any point of yesterday. Certainly we didn't get this sound in our ears yesterday. The ground staff are doing an excellent job. They're sprinting all over the outfield like ants trying to get the sheets into place. The problem that England are going to have here, Georgia, is we'll almost certainly take an early lunch. I'll look around to see if we've had confirmation of that yet. Lunch can't be taken until 20 past, Henry Moran tells me. So that'll definitely happen. So lunch will be taken at 20 past. So 2 o'clock, in theory, when play could begin again. So that means there wouldn't be too many overs lost at the moment. Still 76 and a half left in the day. And just looking specifically at this game now, Georgia, South Africa 140 for 5. They lead by 7. We're experiencing rain at Taunton that will force an early lunch to be taken at 20 past 1. England taking 2 wickets this morning. Lees for 10. Lizelle Lee for 36. Sekakune, the night watcher, on 19. Kapp 17. and I'm not asking you to predict the weather, but do you still think that there is enough chance, enough time in this game for England to get a result? There are 76.5 overs left, and at what time, if they're not back on by, will they start getting a bit twitchy?
Well, I certainly think there's more than enough time at the moment. I think we've seen how England come out after the breaks. They come out really hard and they put the South African batters under pressure. And I think England won't mind this. They're not going to lose too much time out of the game if we take lunch now. So I think while there's still around 50 overs left, they'll feel like they can force a result. But equally, the less time that there is in the game, the South Africans will be more confident, feeling like that they can survive this.
Well, here at Taunton, we've got a rather frustrating scene. There's still grey clouds overhead. There's a little patch of blue over to our left, but the covers are resolutely on. And the latest that we've had from the umpires on this fourth and final day of the women's test between England and South Africa is that pending no further rain, there will be another inspection at 3:15, so in about 20 minutes from now. I'm trying to find out what the latest we can play is, and we'll get that information to you as soon as possible. I'm not going to mention the weather app to Stefan, but I'm going to have a look at it myself, which is telling us that we're going to have, I think, a little bit more possibly before it moves through and we get a bit of clear air to follow. So we'll have to be a little bit patient, but we'll continue to be so. Stefan, it's one of those days again, isn't it?
Yeah, it's frustrating, and it feels like we talk about this a lot in the women's game, and actually it boils down to the fact that in women's test cricket over the past 18 months we've had some horrendous luck with the weather, and unfortunately there's nothing you can do about the rainfall. And what this will come down to now is an equation of time. I think we probably will get some more play, unless your weather app is correct, and we're going to get some more rain. It's just how much more play are we going to get, because at the moment England are now in a race against time to see if they can force a result in this game. South Africa 140 for 5, so that's a lead of 7 runs. England still need to take another 5 wickets, and when you consider that it's taken them 57.5 overs to take these 5 wickets, Sekhukhune, the night watcher, Marizanne Kapp 19 and 17 respectively. Sekhukhune has been immovable today, so impressive, so composed. When you think that her batting in international cricket, there is nothing to shout about in her career so far. Marizanne Kapp we know all about. She's made 150 in the first innings, one of the premier all-rounders in the game. But remember that England, it took them some time to work through the South Africa lower order in the first innings. It was the lower order that gave Kapp all of her support. There's still Bosch, de Klerk and Jafta to come. It's not a case of that England are just going to take those 5 wickets really quickly and South Africa are going to roll over. It's going to take them some time, and then the equation is how far ahead will South Africa be? Will England have enough overs to get the runs if they can bowl them out? I'm sure if there's even a hint of a chance of forcing a result, England will go for it. Why wouldn't they? They've got very little to lose. But when we went off, when was that? Just before lunch, at around about 1:15, there were 76.5 overs remaining in the day. Already, what time is it now? 3 o'clock. So you're counting back from 7, with a tea break in there as well. You're thinking already we're down to about 50, 51. That's just, sticking a finger in the air and coming up with a bit of a calculation, because we're trying to find out exactly what time we can play until.
Well, we have to be playing by 7.
Have to be playing by 7, so that would suggest that we can play until 8 as a last hour
in theory.
So counting back from 8 o'clock to now, 17 overs an hour less 20 minutes for tea, so that's 5 lots of 17. Well, it still might be all of your overs actually. It's probably a bit more actually. So I think the
85 that would be
85. So that's obviously too many. So maybe it's 7:30 that the cut-off would be. I think what the result of this conversation is we don't actually know.
We've had a good time trying to work it out though. What we do know is that the covers are still on. I can see some of the England players signing autographs over there by the dugouts underneath the Andy Caddick Pavilion.
What time do we say the next inspection is? 15:15?
Yeah.
Because these covers aren't coming off quickly.
No.
That's going to be another. Even if they started to take them off now, you're looking at half an hour at least. So yeah, it's just the time factor now. How much time is there today for England to get a result?
Yes, but we've got positive news on a number of fronts here in Taunton. Firstly, play is going to restart in around about 15 minutes from now. They've done the main job of clearing things up. The clouds have cleared just enough for England now to be warming up, and we will resume shortly with the score on 140 for 5. South Africa leading by 7 runs. Now, I should add the caveat that there is more rain, I think, coming. So, they've got to make the most of this block of time and do their best to take as many wickets as quickly as they possibly can. And obviously tea is still going to be taken, not they could have had it in the last sort of 2 hours when we've been sitting around, but there we go. You know, it's one of those things. Hello, Alex.
Hello, I've just had my tea. Fresh hot donut.
Georgia Elvis has walked in with hot donuts. I'll tell you what.
I tried the donut challenge where you can't lick your lips while eating a donut. I failed.
Oh, was that what the commotion was?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
I did wonder what was going on. Good news, we're going to restart the round.
Yes. It's about time, isn't it? To get the game on. Cricket's a funny sport because it's one of those where you know rain's on the way. So you could just say, well, we could probably get 20, 30 minutes play and then it's going to rain again. You just call it off? Or do you just try?
Well, they'll always try. Because, the laws say you've got to keep going until shaking hands with potentially an hour, with an hour before the last hour is when you can shake hands. So we will be here a little while. That's no question about that. But I'd rather be here and be entertained with some cricket.
Oh, me too.
So I'm up for a
4-hour drive. I'd rather be watching cricket than driving along the motorway.
Well, you're going to have to do both, I'm afraid.
Oh, is that how it works?
And one does not replace the other. It does. So we've got that to look forward to in about, how long is it from now? 15 minutes, which is good news indeed. Here at Taunton, play is about to resume. The skies are looking increasingly murky to our left, but we are going to see some more cricket. It's been quite a wait. What time did we go off, Phil Long? Can you recall?
Yeah, I can recall we came off at 4 minutes past 1.
Okay, so we've been waiting close to 3 hours. That is quite a break, but there we go. We are ready for action once again. We can have as many as 49.3 overs for the rest of the day, so we'll have certainly the opportunity of the cloud stairway to get a result in this match, but we have to wait and see if they will. 140 for 5, a lead of 7 for South Africa under cloudy skies. Alice Davison-Richards is halfway through and over, and so she will continue from the far end, the river end. Alex Hartley, what realistically is England's approach here?
They've just got to try and take as many wickets as they can, as quick as they can. If they're going to force a result in this game, they've got to be aggressive with their fields, they've got to get the ball up, challenge that off stump, bring your slips into play. But for South Africa, they've got to keep just batting and batting and batting.
They do. Here we go. 3 slips in a gully. Alice Davison-Richards is running in to bowl. And Sekakuni is on strike, the night watcher, who's nearly going to be there for a 2-night watcher.
I think she's going to be the night watcher and the day watcher.
Yeah. She's batted forever. It feels like 140 for 5 is the score.
Stefan's given us a very lively update behind us, isn't he?
He's dancing from one foot to the other.
I can just hear him.
And making a right racket.
Chirping away in my right ear.
It's sort of, I almost always hear Stefan's voice just sort of reverberating around my head. Either his or yours.
Rude.
140 for 5. Davison-Richards bowls. Loose down the leg sides. More untidy keeping from Amy Jones, who fell in stages. Moving to her right, and the ball squirms away, so a bye is taken. 141 for 5.
She's not had the best of time with the gloves this test match, Amy Jones. The ball there just dying before and her not being able to stop it. Alice Davison-Richards angling that one down the leg side, and Amy Jones just diving too far and just missing the ball.
It's one of those that, in fairness, did some slightly bounce on the half volley, but really you'd expect her to take that cleanly. She's one of the world's best. 141 for 5. 1 ball left to the over. The cries of "come on ADR" as Alice Davison-Richards, centurion in the first England innings, prepares to bowl with the floodlights shining, grey skies overhead. England with 3 slips in a gully, looking for wickets. Davison-Richards, medium build, comes in now past the umpire, and that is pulled away into the leg side down towards Lauren Bell, who stops the ball at fine leg. The over will come to an end with the lead up to 9. It's 142 for 5.
Be interesting to see who we get here from our end. It's not going to be Sophie Eccleston, but it's going to be Lauren Bell.
Yes, the big hooping in swing of Lauren Bell.
I like this from England. Get your youngsters on early. They've been brilliant throughout this test match. Lauren Bell's bowled 11 overs for just 16 runs in this innings that's been very stop-start.
The lead's up to 9, so that's something else to keep an eye on, because as well as taking these 5 wickets, England are going to have to chase down whatever is left if they can get to that stage.
I think if the rain comes, declare and give them an over to get 9.
Quite a high-risk strategy, but I like it.
South Africa will very much be batting for the draw. Keep the series alive. You don't want to be going into the ODI series and the T20s 4-0 down when realistically it should be 2-2.
Here comes Lauren Bell, long sleeve shirt, untucked. She sprints away from us. Ball angles in towards the top of off stump, right on the money immediately. The lesser spotted, long sleeved fast bowler.
Yes, she has been wearing short sleeves, but maybe it just got damp in the rain. They were out there for a while. It's a lovely start from Lauren Bell, just swinging the ball back into Marizanne Kapp, just outside the off stump.
Marizanne Kapp just blunting that ball. Here comes Bell, charging away from us. A little bit shorter this time, and up on her toes defending Kapp. Plays the ball back to the bowler. More enthusiasm from the England slip cord.
Yeah, we came back with 49.3 overs to bowl. We're now up to 58 overs have been bowled, so there's a new ball at 80 overs if England require it. It could be too late, I suppose, by that point.
Could be, if we get to that point. Kapp waits. There's a short leg, not that short really, 2 pitches along really. As Bell bowls full delivery, it's chipped a little airily towards short mid-wicket. It was a testing delivery which was swinging in towards Kapp all the time. Her face unmoved. She always looks like she is rather, slightly like she's waiting at customer services in a supermarket and slightly wearied by the delay. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
It's like just a bit like, oh.
Passport control.
Oh, come on.
Get on with it. Waiting for her luggage at Heathrow.
Little bit. Here's Lauren Bell again. 2 slips now as Kapp waits. It's defended again. I suppose the only thing about Lauren Bell's bowling, as impressive as it's been, you sort of know what's coming.
Yeah, you do. I guess her advantage is she has got a bounce, so she can pitch one just back of a length, which will then bring Tammy Bowman at short leg into play, and when she does get it fuller, it'll swing more in towards the right-hander.
So it's variety of length as opposed to variety of movement, I guess. Here comes Lauren Bell again. It's a little bit back of a length. Punch through the offside on the back foot. Nicely played by Marizanne Kapp. The ball will rush away across the outfield in pursuit. Davis and Richards will haul the ball in maybe 5 yards inside the rope at deep extra cover. And we will see 3 runs taken. So the lead moves forward to 12. 145 for 5.
Sakakune, the wall, the South African wall, back on strike. She's 19 off 107 deliveries after coming in yesterday's night watcher. And she's gone for the short sleeve but the long tubey grip.
Yes.
So maybe her long sleeve shirt was in the wash.
Round the wicket, 1 ball.
Quite positive. She's been magnificent in this innings. Really impressive. For someone that averages 3 in ODI cricket to 19. Here is Lauren Bell round the wicket. Full delivery, which is jammed out towards short cover where Tammy Beaumont tumbles and saves.
Yeah, and before this test, she'd only faced 81 balls in her 48 match career.
See, sometimes as tail enders you just need to be given the opportunity.
145 for 5. The leader's 12 at the end of the over. You were given lots of opportunities, Alex.
Never in a test match.
No, that's true. Maybe that was your calling.
I wonder how many balls I'd have faced in the test before getting out. Probably like 4 or 5, knowing me.
Yeah.
I did once leave a ball from Katie Levick, who plays for Yorkshire, Northern Diamonds. It hit me on the front pad and I tried to run a single after playing no shot. And on replay, it was hitting the middle of middle stump.
Yeah.
It was a bad leave.
Wasn't a great one, that.
That was in a one-day game as well.
Kate Cross is going to bowl from the far end, replacing Alice Davis and Richards, and she runs in with 3 slips in the gully. Kapp is forward in defence, playing with immaculate posture, pushed into the offside. It might have been your calling. I think we might have had to forget the original Little Master. It might have been you.
Could have been me.
I think you would have been
the Blackburn blocker.
Yeah. Get past that. Here's Cross. Charging in towards us. Forward again comes Kapp. A bit more oomph on it from Kate Cross, who's taken 2 of the 5 wickets that have fallen in this innings. We've got 4 balls left of the over.
It's just got ever so slightly darker as well overhead. We can see the lights have taken over.
Lord Ian Botham stand in the distance is looking a little murky, with a few gulls just gently resting on top of the roof watching the action. As in comes Kate Cross, running towards us. It's a fuller ball which is played back towards the bowler, and for the second time today Cross shapes to hurl the ball at the stumps. A little show of aggression from your Nobles co-host.
I'll be asking her about that. Why are you so aggressive these days? You've changed. It was a great stop in a follow-through from Kate Cross as she grabs it in her left hand, passes it to her right and threatens to throw it at Cap.
Cross in, 3 slips and a gully. This is driven past Cross this time. Lovely piece of timing. It's going to run away towards the boundary at long off, and Marizan Cap sees a slightly overpitched delivery and greedily gobbles up the chance. 149 for 5.
Yeah, the first one going back to Kate Cross. This time just slightly wider from Cross, and Cap able to get it past the bowler. There is no mid-off, and it goes away for 4. Doesn't race away. Tammy Beaumont had to chase it to the boundary because the grass will be very damp, so it'll have got softer. The outfield won't be as quick.
Cross again with the ball in hand, running towards us and past umpire Anna Harris. Once more pushed out towards the same sort of region, but straight to Beaumont this time, who will pick up. We've got a ball left of the over. Leads up to 16. It's funny not hearing the voices of Anya Shrubsole and Catherine Brunt out there.
It is. But you do feel like England have bowled well enough without them as well.
Here comes Kate Cross, sprinting in towards us. It's back of a length, hammered into the leg side. Has work to do for Sophia Dunkley out in front of the Somerset stand. She does well. Picks up, perhaps frustratingly for England. It'll see Cap retaining the strike at the start of the 61st over. A little update on the playing conditions and the regs. The last hour, official last hour, i.e. when they can shake hands, when there are 17 overs left or 6 o'clock, whichever is later. But bearing in mind we've still got 47 overs left in the day. What does that mean, Phil Long?
Well, it's all very confusing with this 17 overs, isn't it, in an hour which we're supposed to bowl. So I don't know, but looking to our left, is that all going to become a little bit redundant?
Might do.
Let's hope not.
Georgia Elvis is back with us as Lauren Bell runs in past Sue Redfern, and it's defended by Marizan Cap. England giving it their all, but yet to find the breakthrough in this second session of the day.
Yeah, it's strange, isn't it, at 4 o'clock, but yeah, England just need to be patient here. I think they'll have had their chats, they'll know their plans, and see how quickly wickets can fall. One often brings 2 and 2 3, so stay patient, and when they get one, they need to really pile in.
Bell bowls, full delivery on the pads, clipped down towards fine leg, where Izzy Wong will field in front of the Colin Atkinson Pavilion and that scoreboard, which seems to be shining ever brighter at the moment as the murk and the gloom descends once more. 151 for 5. The lead is 18. You know Lauren Bell pretty well from the Southern Vipers. Is this the first game of a long England career?
I certainly hope so for her. She's got all the talent, all the natural ability, and she works really hard.
2 meters.
Loves bowling fast.
Zakakuni on strike. As a quick delivery away from the left-hander is just pushed towards Tammy Beaumont in the covers.
Yeah, she had a really impressive domestic season last year, both with the Southern Vipers and the Southern Brave. She's been working really hard on her consistency, on her variations. She's a great white ball bowler as well. And getting her first opportunity in England colours with the red ball, but showing she's got what it takes.
Bell in, down the leg side. That kept gun barrel straight, expecting the swing to come, but it never did. And 2 balls left of the over. I'll just finish the over, and then Melissa's going to jump in. 151 for 5. the lead's 18.
Yeah, you think for Lauren Bell, she gets that big hooping in swinger, doesn't she? And then the odd ball that just carries straight on. If she can control that, that's a real threat.
Galloping approach from Lauren Bell. That swings away, left alone by Sekakuni, who seems to relish blocking and leaving.
She's playing really nicely, hasn't she? She'll be enjoying the challenge. She seems to have a good defence. I think she'd have been too happy to be asked to strap the pads on last night in that dark and gloomy session, but she is certainly doing a job for her team here.
Bell coming round the wicket now. Final ball of the over. Into Sekakuni. It's played easily enough into the leg side. There's a chase on for Dunkley to pick up. And 1 run will be taken for Meet Davison Richards, that is. 152 for 5. 61 overs gone in this innings. The lead is 19. And here comes Melissa Story.
I think it's quite an interesting dynamic that in the first innings, Sune Luce was batting with Sekakuni. She sometimes wouldn't take a single to protect her, and now they've sent her out there as the protector of their batters, so it's come full circle almost, really, in the 2 innings. But she's certainly doing a fine job out there for her team now.
Tumi, she's coming over to you.
Tumi Sekakune will be on strike to Kate Cross, who's played a fantastic innings for her team. I've seen a lot of praise on social media from a South African perspective about her innings and the patience she's exhibited at the crease. 3 slips in a gully to Kate Cross, who's charging in full and driven on the up by Sekakune into the offside. No run taken. And suddenly we're presented with a dilemma of South Africa wanting to block out the rest of this day to fight for this draw, and England who almost need to go into white ball bowling mode to get these wickets. I mean, do you think we're going to be seeing some innovation from the England bowlers, maybe changing bowling changes, slower balls, as Kate Cross bowls and left alone by Sekakune?
Yeah, I certainly think there's going to be a time and a place for that. I don't know how much time really England are going to have with the weather that's around. They still need to be patient. I'm trying to set up the batters. The ball really at 61, 62 overs old. It's not doing a lot laterally for Kate Cross. Still a bit of swing for Lauren Bell, but
I think Lauren Bell could probably swing a ball of socks. As Kate Cross at the river end bowls, beats the edge of Sekakuna's bat. And that's met with a warm round of applause from the hardy spectators who have hung about. They've been battled by strong winds and rain, and they're still here, hoping to see England just clasp that victory. 152 for 5, South Africa. As Cross turns at the top of her mark, running in. Arms pumping, bowls on the hip of Sekakune, who tickles that down to fine leg. It's a lot of work for Lauren Bell, and she gets down with a dramatic roll on the boundary, keeping that down to 2 runs, and that was a long way down for Lauren Bell. She did it very gracefully.
Yeah, bless her. She's having to do a lot of running with this left-hand, right-hand partnership. She's fine leg for the left-hander and then has to run 100 yards over to the other side to be fine leg for the right-hander. She's also bowling, and then she's also having to sprint to save a boundary, so she's putting a big shift for her team here.
As Kate Cross bowls over the wicket, full outside the off stump and left alone by Sekakune, who holds her leave up in the air. She holds the pose and shuffles sideways just to really rub it in at the crease. 22 off 117 balls. And of course Marizanne Kapp at the other end. That 150 runs in the first innings. She's 27 off 37. 1 ball remaining in this Kate Cross over. As she sprints in, bowls and pushed out by Sekakune onto the offside. And it's a dot ball. Kate Cross takes her hat and sunglasses back from umpire Anna Harris. And the score 154 for 5. We see the ground bathed in the bright light of the floodlights here, as it is a bit gloomy still, it's a bit dark. I'm sure it's probably cold. I'm sure you're quite happy to be sat up here, Georgia Ellis, rather than fielding down there.
It doesn't look like the greatest cricket conditions, does it? Lauren Bell won't mind though. She's getting in a swing with this old ball. I was just thinking to myself there, I think this must be such a strange feeling for Sophie Eccleston to have bowled so few overs.
As Lauren Bell goes in, bowls, full, swinging, and driven up to mid-on for no run, fielded by Sophia Dunkley, who's had a bit of a quiet game. Sophia Dunkley, she came in, scored 18 in England's first innings, but apart from them, she's just kind of been shuffling about in the covers, going to mid-wicket. She's not in that slip cordon for England.
No, she's not. She's the pup of the team, I suppose. She's having to do the hard yards in the field.
As Bell bowls straight, back of the length and pushed back to her, she misfields and throws it to extra cover. There's a hierarchy in village cricket, I think you'd say. You've got the senior citizen at first slip, and you probably have the captain at second slip, and then you stick the young one under the helmet and make the other youngsters run around the boundary. Is that what it's like here? So we've got poor Dunkley, Bell, doing all the hard yards, and all the senior players sat in the slip cordon. 2 slips in a gully as that's straight, and there's a short appeal from the England fielders. Not too sure what for.
I wouldn't say there's a higher. Well, I mean, the vice captain and captain are both stood at slip and gully, aren't they? So maybe there is, but I think it's that experience. Heather Knight's been that first slip for England for a number of years now, and Nat Siver, one of the best fielders in that gully position. We've seen her take some fantastic catches in this Test match.
Lauren Bell skips at the top of her run up. Arm swinging, bowls a low full toss on the leg stump, which is flicked away fast and down to fine leg for a single. Cap moving on to 28. Score 155 for 5, and leading by 22 runs. England searching for these quick wickets. Because of course in ODI cricket, England, it's quite rare to see 2 slips in play. It's normally 1 slip for the first 10 overs, and as you mentioned, that is Heather Knight. But every morning we've seen the England slip fielders out there training, trying to get as much practice in before the day's play. As Bell bowls, 4th stump line and dropped into the offside. No run taken.
Yeah, something that they have to work really hard on in the build-up to the Test matches when the red ball prep gets underway. You see them either before training or after sticking around and doing their slip catching, and there are some new faces in there for this Test match. Sophie Eccleston looks pretty happy in there, doesn't she?
63 on her back. Bell bowls down the leg side, and it's tickled away, rushing to the boundary. Fine, and for 4. Sakakuno moving on to 26 now. Cap at the other end, 28. And Lauren Bell takes her jumper back, because the England players need quite a few layers out there to stay warm. That completes the over, 159 for 5. Now, are you a bowler who can bowl in a jumper? Because I think, if anything, it's a masterful skill.
Certainly not a long sleeve jumper. Sometimes I can do the short sleeve pullover, but I don't think I'd be attempting getting that big, thick, woolly jumper. I think that might just be a stretch too far.
Restricts the arm movements. We see Kate Cross retying her hair there, and an interesting field from England. Fine leg and square leg on the boundary. May see some short stuff as Cross sprints in. It's full leg stump line and pushed to mid-on. No run taken, and you just get the sense that there's a silent battle out there in the middle. Not too much is happening, but also anything can happen at any point.
Yeah, England girls, you can hear them chirping away, just saying it only takes 1 ball, and that's the mindset that they've got to have. Get that first breakthrough and then really pile in.
Cross bowls and over pitched on the legs of Cap. She's pushed that down the ground gloriously, and the fielder in pursuit allows them to get through for 2 runs. And Jumi Sekakuna there at the non-striker's end was running like her life depended on it. She's desperately making sure that her senior member at the crease got back on strike. moves on to 30, 161 for 5. And those England and South African flags to our right billowing in the wind as the weather just picks up a bit. Cross bowls, back of a length, pushed onto the onside by Cap.
Yeah, that's it. I think England just need to stay patient here. They're bowling nicely. There's very little incentive for South Africa to play their shots at the moment, so for England it's about staying patient, and then when that chance comes they can't afford to put another catch down.
Amy Jones dropping that key catch earlier as cross bowls, and this is tickled off the hip of Cap into the leg side. Mid-wicket comes round to field at square leg. The singles taken, bringing Sekakuna back on strike for the 2 remaining balls of this delivery. Now Phil Long, that drop catch by Amy Jones. What over of the day was that? I'm trying to think who it was. Was it dropped? Who was even dropped?
It was the Zhou by Amy Jones off Izzy Wong.
And it was speculated that there was another chance by Ecclestone at second slip, but looking at the footage, it did bounce about a foot in front of her, so it would be incredibly harsh for us to expect her to grow her arm out to fetch that one, as that's shorter from cross, touched off the hip by Sekakuna, down to Lauren Bell at fine leg. And the single taken. The field goes back into right-hand mode. They're keeping warm out there.
Yeah, and it was in the 42nd over of the day. At the time, Liz Elley had 13. She went on to make 36.
Costly for England as South Africa lead by 30 runs now. They'll be hoping to keep that lead down to as little as possible if there's any chance of them chasing it down in the final few sessions, as that's Fuller from cross, driven out into the offside by Cap to Emma Lamb, and that completes the over. 163 for 5. Now, speaking of Sophie Ecclestone being able to potentially stretch her hand out that little bit further, has just made me think of the wonderful notion of what if cricketers had superpowers. Now, as the professional cricketer you are, if you were to have a superpower on the pitch, Georgia Ellis, to help you with your game, what are you picking? This is the important stuff we're getting here.
That's a good question. A superpower, I'm going to say the ability to know what's going to happen the next ball.
It would help with the ball-by-ball commentary, I must say. That'd be wonderful. So you could
you're always one step ahead, I think.
Not super speed. You know what? Flight would be quite helpful if you're stuck on the fine leg to fine leg.
That would be actually just
save your legs.
Save your legs. Transport yourself to your next fielding position.
Maybe the portal.
I mean, speed would be good, wouldn't it?
And speaking of speed, we've got Izzy Wong coming into the attack from the pavilion end. She's bowling outside the off stump, and Sekakuni leaving that one alone. Wong opting to come around the wicket to the left-hander. Maybe just signs from England that they're going to be attacking those stumps. But Sekakuni has been solid in defence and has done her duties as a night watcher incredibly well. The only problem being that once you do one good gig as a night watcher, then you are stuck with it for the rest of your career. She's only young, so she's condemned herself to be a night watcher forever as Wong bowls and left alone by Sekakuna. 163 for 5.
Yeah, I like the angle from Wong. I like her coming around the wicket. She just needs to tighten up her lines, make the batter play. She's quite content just leaving the ball outside the off stump. She knows she doesn't need to play at those, but anything that's coming towards her in her stumps, Tammy Beaumont waiting there at short leg. Wonder if we could see some short stuff from Izzy Wong. That's something I'd certainly like to see.
She bustles in and bowls back of a length, punched by Sekakuni for thick edge, down to third man, 2 fielders in pursuit, and they get back comfortably for 2 runs. She's like a whippet between the stumps, Sekakuni, and her score moving on to 29, 165 for 5, and this lead of 32 just keeps growing inch by inch. It was actually quite a glorious shot there from Sekakuni. It wasn't as much of an edge as her opening up the face of her bat and just running it down to third. Wong waits at the top of her mark, running past the pile of sawdust and bowls, full swinging and left alone by Sekakune. That one looked fast, Georgia Ellis.
Yeah, she's the only one really who's getting consistent carry, isn't she, through to Amy Jones. Amy Jones almost looking quite surprised that the ball is carrying that much. We talked about how close she's standing and the slip fielders. They don't want any drops, any balls hitting the edge of the bat to drop in front of them. So
Izzy Wong, 25 on her back, runs away from us, and that's driven uppish through the slip cordon, down to the boundary for 4. Izzy Wong rocks her head back. She can't believe it. It was a fast, thick edge from Sekakune on the drive, and just going past the outstretched hand of third slip.
Yeah, hands on heads all round. I think England girls it's looking like they're getting slightly frustrated. Not had much go their way this morning.
169 for 5 now the score. That lead moves up to 36 as Wong, final ball of the over, straighter fuller and kept out by Sekakune to complete that over with a dot. And England rushing between these overs. They're trying to spend as much time out there as possible. How do you see them finding this wicket, Georgia Ellis? And after that will be Stefan Schemmel.
Yeah, I like the introduction of Wong. I think she's got that X factor, that point of difference that England are looking for out there. I wouldn't mind seeing a bit of Sophie Eccleston either. She could have a little dart from the other end. I think she's bowled from that end yet. So far, she's England's best bowler. I know the conditions are favouring the seamers at the moment, but I wouldn't mind seeing a little bit of her.
Just feels like the sands of time are slipping away from England. 42 overs left in the game. Got to take 5 more wickets and then chase whatever South Africa set them. Leeds currently 36. Kate Ross to Marizanne Kapp, driven firmly to Tammy Beaumont at mid-off. Bit of a hand stinger, especially in this cold, grey weather. We'll keep looking out of the window, Georgia, to see what it's like. Away to our left, I can see the hills, the Quantock Hills behind the Botham stand just starting to disappear. I feel like I've been watching the weather all the past 4 days. I'm not great at it, to be honest. Cross from the far end, bouncing into Kapp, who drives, finds a gap in the covers, should be 4. The outfield slowed up with the rain. There's been a real feature of the way that Kapp has batted in this match. 150 in the first innings, now she's on to 35 in this innings. She peppers the offside boundary with those sweet cover drives. We talk about how Laura Wolfhard plays her cover drive. Well, that's just as good, isn't it, Georgia? 173 for 5.
Yeah, absolutely. She's got a beautiful cover drive. I've seen it throughout her innings. A fantastic 150 in the first innings, and this little 35 that she's got here, she really is putting in a big shift for her team.
Cross balls to Kapp. Now she's driving through mid-on. That's even better. All the way up to the Botham stand. Lauren Bell can only go and retrieve the ball from the boundary. Kapp on to 39, 177 for 5. Tell you what, Georgia, we're talking about how the weather's going to frustrate England's push for victory. Well, South Africa might be thinking, you know, if it hadn't rained, if there was another day, we might be setting up for a decent run chase here. Cross tries again. Watch on her left wrist, bowling to Kapp, who defends.
Which is actually what we said last summer. Do you remember? It looked like England were pushing for victory. At the end of that 4th day, it then looked like India certainly had a chance to cause England at least some problems in chasing down a total.
From a really selfish point of view, I just love there to be a result today, so we're not talking about why isn't women's test cricket 5 days. 3 slips in a gully go down. Cross still striving towards Kapp, who defends. I feel like I've seen that a lot in the past couple of days. 177 for 5. The lead's 44, and I hate to say it, but it is raining. There are umbrellas up, handful of spectators over long on in the river stand, and on the grey concrete in front of our box. You can just see the spots of water falling from the grey sky. How much longer might we have on the field? Cross to complete the over, in towards us, and Cap, who goes back on her stumps and pushes into the offside. Marizanne Kapp's walking towards the dressing room. I don't think she's trying to get off just yet. She might want a drink or a change of gloves. She might think it's not the worst thing to do to waste as much time as possible between these overs. 177 for 5, Cap 39, Sekakune 127, lead by 44. Phil, I know we said that Sekakune's 127 deliveries is the most, or is more than she has faced in her international career combined. She got more runs in this innings than she has in her international career to date. Umpires have had a chat. We're going to carry on.
Yeah, because of course she made in the first innings dig out 29, wasn't it? I think. Well, I'm saying that. No, she made 9, faced 39 balls. So she faced a certain number of, good number of balls in the first innings. And your question regarded runs or balls?
Runs, please.
Runs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So before this Test match, she had scored 24 runs in international cricket.
There you go. 33 not out in this innings, 9 not out in the first innings. Izzy Wong with a new over to Sekakune, who drives classically up towards Sophia Dunkley at mid-off. You can hear the rain. If you were South Africa, George, you'd be wondering why he's still out there. Get us off.
I think she looks quite happy out there. I think she's wanting those extra 17 runs, isn't she?
Thanks for bringing the donuts, by the way.
Oh yeah, they were good, weren't they?
Yeah,
little
nice
lift we needed.
Donuts.
Fresh, warm donuts.
Sekakune's got really long, dark hair flowing out of her helmet. Wong, full Yorker length. Sekakune digs it out. It's applause from the crowd. There might be applauding the umpires for keeping the players out there. Cap walks down the pitch to talk to Sekakune. Anything just to chew up a few moments to allow the wet weather to get heavier. It is getting heavier. Sue Redfern, the umpire at our end, is getting twitchy. A fella in the river stand just removed his purple umbrella to say, is it still raining? It is, sir, definitely. The flags on top of the pavilion at right angles to their pole. Breeze blowing left to right as we look out, and Wong runs away from us outside the off stump. The swing back into Sekakune, but Wong's just started that a little bit too wide. Goes through to Amy Jones. The water's now hitting the window of our commentary box. Anna Harris at square leg. The umpire's just turned around to look at the clouds behind her and behind the flats over the Somerset stand. Wong, wearing 25, steams in, bowls to Sekakune, straight delivery that she turns back to the bowler. Bit of an umbrella field for England, 4 slips and a gully, a point and a mid-off. Short leg and long leg are the only fielders on the onside. If it gets turned in front of square on the leg side, Tammy Beaumont's got to cover everything from underneath the helmet at short leg. That is Tammy Beaumont, you can hear at short leg as Wong runs in on a tiptoes to Sekakune, edged, full short, dropping short between 3rd and 4th slips. Kate Crossan, it's Emma Lamb in there, might be Alice Davis and Richards actually. Either way, it didn't carry. Sekakune playing with soft hands, pace going out of the pitch as well, as England slips couldn't get much closer to the batter. We saw earlier on how Amy Jones dropped a catch, partly because of how close she was standing. Rain continues to fall steadily. Wong goes back over the wicket to Sekakune, edged and dropped at second slip by Eccleston. It was a short delivery that Sekakune fenced at with an open face, and it slid off towards Sophie Eccleston, and the chance goes down. And you wonder if that might be England's last opportunity.
Yeah, I think so. We spoke about Eccleston being new into the slips for this series. She throws her head back in disappointment. A very catchable height. That is the chance that England would have needed. They have any way of getting through this South African tail. Izzy Wong creating the opportunity. Sophie Eccleston just cannot hold on.
You talk about it being England's last opportunity, throwing it out there, not because that the situation is dire. If Eccleston had taken that, South Africa would have been 6 down with a lead of only 44. It's just the rain and the time that's the issue. 40 overs remaining. How many of those will we see? Nat Siver into the attack from the far end. Cap driving and playing and missing. Loose shot from Marizanne Kapp at a new ball of Nat Siver's spell, especially when she knows that Nat Siver is such a keen exponent of the swinging ball.
It seems a strange shot, doesn't it? I mean, it is a strength, as we spoke about.
Just looking at the replay of the Sekakuni drop, it was just like catching practice, wasn't it, George? You see it when players are warming up in the morning, the coach with the open face as Siver bowls to Kapp. Again, it's another loose drive outside off stump that Kapp has missed. Marizanne Kapp suddenly forgot the state of the game. Played 2 white ball drives. There's a deep point been posted out in front of the Andy Caddick Pavilion. I'm trying to decide if that is England because England are conscious of the runs, because Kapp played 2 cover drives in the previous, a cover drive and an on-drive in the previous over, or because they don't mind Kapp taking a single. Siver bowls again to Kapp. That's a better defensive stroke. Pushed up towards mid-off. No run. 177 for 5.
Yeah, those 2 shots, those 2 play and misses from Marizanne Kapp. I wonder if somebody's told her if she makes 50, she'll only become the second woman to make 150 and a 50 in a test match.
Right.
I wonder if word has got out.
What's the most runs a player has made? I know there have been people who've made double centuries, Phil. Siver bowls to Kapp, who defends up towards mid-off, and there's no run.
Kiran Balush, who holds the highest individual score, also holds the highest number of runs in a test match. She made 242 in the first innings, 22 in the second, for a combined match total of 264.
Marizanne Kapp's way off that then. Siver pumps her arms towards Kapp, leaves the ball alone, goes past the off stump. 1 delivery of the over remaining. The lead's 44.
Yeah, the only other player in women's test history to make 150 and a 50 in the same test was Emily Drum, who did it for New Zealand against Australia in Christchurch back in 1995.
That fielder's coming in from the point boundary to make sure that Kapp doesn't pinch the strike. I cannot believe they're still playing. It has to be said, it is bucketing down. Siver bowls to Kapp, who drives nicely past the dive of Tammy Beaumont, who could be flopping into a swimming pool the way that she threw herself at that ball. Not least because of the way she did it, but also because of the wet weather. That might be the last action for a little while. The umpires are going to come together once more. Scores 181 for 5. The lead 48. Anna Harris is striding towards Sue Redfern. England are trying to get round to get into their fielding position to say that they want to carry on. Of course they do, but it's got heavier again. You can hear it.
Yeah, it's visible as well now, isn't it? All across the ground. You said the England players are at their positions desperate. South African girls just holding their bats, drying their bats, making a point that it is heavy out there.
At what point, Georgia, is this unfair to South Africa, actually? They should, in my opinion, they shouldn't be playing in this, should they?
Yeah, I know. I do agree. I think desperation to get the game on is the only reason that they're staying out there. But for South Africa, yeah,
we're all up for that, aren't we? We want to see cricket played. We want the game to go to its natural conclusion. But it really is raining heavily. Wong bowling to Sekakuni, start of a new over. Sekakuni lets one go past the off stump, and I think that is going to be it. Anna Harris is coming. Yep, Sue Redfern says we're off. I'm not entirely sure what changed in that one delivery that Izzy Wong bowled, other than Alex Hartley came in to replace Georgia Elwis. It was a really strange situation where the umpires came together, decided that they were going to play on. Izzy Wong bowled 1 ball, and then we've all gone off. And now Kapp and Sekakuni are scurrying for the dressing room, perhaps never to be seen again. Get in there, lock the door, don't come out until tomorrow morning. South Africa are 181 for 5. They lead by 48 in that little mini session where we had 10 overs. Bill?
We came back at 16:07, yeah, in the 63rd. We had 1, 2, 3, 4. We had 7.
So they pushed the score on from 100.
What came after 6?
They pushed the score on from 140 for 5 to 181 for 5. Sekakuni was 19. She's now on 33, having been dropped on 33 by Eccleston at second slip off the bowling of Izzy Wong. Marizanne Kapp goes from 17 to 43. The South Africa lead is 48. Alex Hartley, is that the ball game?
Yeah, you've got to think so, haven't you? Frustratingly, I mean, we can sit around for another hour and a half, but it takes a while to put the covers on, take them off. It's heavy out there now, probably the heaviest we've actually seen it for a while, or the heaviest we've seen it for a few hours. And if I look over to the left where the weather's coming from, there's patches of whiter cloud, but it looks pretty set in. That hill in the distance has disappeared.
Yeah, it looks pretty grim out there. Tea's been taken 4:30, so that's now. That feels optimistic. I fear, Alex, we may struggle to see any more cricket. We can play for quite a long while, but looking at that radar, it looks quite set in, I'd say. And we can hear it hammering down the effects microphone. I always think on a radar, you know those multicoloured radars that tell you how heavy the rain is?
You get a big purple one, that's when you know it's coming.
It was white, which is the most...
Oh, is it?
Most of the worst of all. White hot, almost, but, rain. And we're going to have rain, I think, for the next 2 hours.
Oh, well, that's it. Game done and dusted.
Well, it might be, mightn't it? And you know what people are going to say?
Should be 5 days.
Well, that and women's tests are always a draw.
Well, it's rained for 2 days.
It has, What hope have you got? Here come the ground sheets. You'll hear them being dragged across. And the ground staff have been really busy. And you know what the forecast is tomorrow, don't you?
It's bright sunshine.
It is, yeah. What can you do?
We can't do anything. And actually, it's actually been a brilliant test match. And Sakakune for South Africa has been absolutely outstanding. Yes, she was just dropped in the slips by Sophie Eccleston, but it probably wouldn't have made all that much difference because the rain has come and they would have been off anyway.
Indeed. Came in as a night watcher last night. Still there. I know we haven't had a full day's play, but she made 33, which is more runs than she's made in the rest of her international career combined. So that's pretty good going. And so what can you do? The forecast as we'd see it is, as I say,
wet.
Sort of, yeah, it's more of the oranges and the greens that I'm looking at the moment.
You just went on your maps. That's not going to help, is it?
It's not going to help, is it?
You've seen how long it'll take you to get back up to Edgbaston.
About 2.5 hours, I reckon. Yeah, here we go. So just rumbling across Taunton.
So it's a lot of rain and it's heavy now. It is really heavy. It's such a shame because it would have been a belter of a test match. It was set up beautifully days 1 and 2, and then it's just rained consistently for the next 2 days.
I know. Frustrating. We didn't even get to our quiz. We didn't even get a result in that, which is disappointing. Phil Long, another scorebook that's going to say test match drawn, I fear.
I think as you just mentioned there's a kind of story behind each draw. And I know we do bang on a little bit about it should be 4 or 5 days, but we have had a run of women's test match cricket where we've been unlucky with the weather. We haven't come and had 4 glorious days. There's been no chance of it being 400 overs. Where the games have looked to get into position, with this one being in particular, and then the rain has just meant we can't even manoeuvre a result. We can't even manufacture a result because the rain has just come and just wiped it out.
I think in terms of how this process is going to work, they think they can shake hands at 6.
Yes.
And so in that case, you'd have thought it won't take that long for the ground staff to say, well, so much rain's fallen, it's going to take us over an hour to get it done.
Yep.
We're already at 25 to 5, so they might not be too far until they're thinking, do you know what?
Let's call it a day.
Put a fork in it. We're done.
Get me up the M5.
Well, indeed. But it's frustrating because we've had a great old time and it's been a really entertaining game, and we've seen some superstar performances as well. Marizanne Kapp with that 150, centuries for Siver and Davidson Richards as well.
They seem like a long time ago, don't they? Because we've had a lot of sitting around in between those magnificent innings. And then Sakakune for South Africa, again, outstanding. Izzy Wong with the ball, brilliant. So it's been a good test match, but probably another draw.
Yeah, which is a real frustration. Just seeing pictures of the crowd. There appears to be a couple that are sitting in the pouring rain, and also she seems to have brought her carriage clock along with her.
She has indeed, and it's actually her handbag, but it's got a clock face on it, which is brilliant.
It's absolutely magnificent. It's the silliest thing I've ever seen in my life. Anyway, I want to go and find that lady. That is spectacular. So the score, as things stand, 181 for 5. The lead, therefore, Philip, is...
It's 48.
48. So let's not forget, for England to win this game, they'd need to take the remaining 5 wickets, then score however many runs would be required. Here, what is happening is the ground covers are all on. The main cover is in the middle. We're still waiting for any cessation of the rain. It's not raining hard, but it's not gone away, Georgia Ellis. It's still lurking, and we're getting to the point of thinking we're not going to see more play, surely.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it does look like it's getting a bit brighter, but that is just blind optimism. I think there's a lot of water on those covers, aren't there? And the time in this game is the problem for England. South Africa, meanwhile, they'll be very happy with their feet up, won't they? And it's just a shame that this has been such a fantastic Test match, poised for what could have been such an exciting finish. Had we had no time out of this game, you'd be sure that there'd have been a result of some sort, whether that be South Africa batting on, setting a total and asking England to chase, or whether England could have bowled out this South African side and then chased it down. It is a shame that probably the one thing we'll be speaking about at the end of this Test match is, do we need a 5th day?
We might as well just record this conversation and see if we need to play it out again in the future, because it feels like we've been around in circles quite a few times with this. Exactly the same a year ago at Bristol, when we thought that they were set up for a perfect finale against India, and it never really quite happened because we'd lost most of the 3rd day. So it's not uncharted territory, this. And I think there's 2 factors here. One, I think Test cricket, the women's game's got quite unlucky in the last few years, and also that lack of a 5th day means that any time out of the game really can have a big impact on the prospect of getting a positive result. So 181 for 5 is the score at the moment. That's where South Africa are, so they're ahead of England by a decent margin, and so England would need to go out there and chase at least 48, even if they were to take all the wickets immediately, which seems unlikely, and we need to be playing by 7. They can shake hands, the 2 skippers, in around about 45 minutes. So we'll find out what's going to happen then, I would have thought. What are the team feelings, you think, up there? Just deeply frustrated?
I think so. I think there will be. I think you see them all still in their whites out on the balcony, praying that they might get one more opportunity to get out there, but realistically I'd think it's going to take the ground staff a reasonable amount of time to get the water off the covers. There is an awful lot of standing water on the covers, and there's been patches, haven't there, around the outfield that the umpires have been concerned about already, and that was a serious downpour that we had. So unfortunately I think it's getting quite unlikely.
Yeah, it feels that way, doesn't it? Georgia, thank you for the time being, and we will be back with news as and when we get it about what the situation is here when anything changes. Nobody's on the outfield. The ground staff are tucked away somewhere having a cup of tea. I hope they've been busy, and the 2 umpires no doubt are having a little bit of a chat about how this all plays out. I can see up in the England dressing room, I think that's Sarah Glenn leaning against a metal bar up there as England prepare to, you'd have thought, shake hands with South Africa at some point in the next hour or so. The Test match between England women and South Africa here at Taunton has finished in a draw. No prospect of play. The captains have agreed to shake hands, and it is a shame. It's a real disappointment. We hoped we would see a blockbuster finish today, but the rain has put paid to that. It has just about stopped, actually, but the ground staff had no opportunity really to get play up and running again, and still with 5 wickets to take and a reasonable lead, South Africa have secured the draw. Alex Hartley and Georgia Elvis have been watching and waiting and wondering and waiting and even the hot donuts cheered us up briefly, but it has been a really frustrating time.
It has. It's been a frustrating couple of days, really, because you do get the sense that there would have been a result in this game. And yes, there'll be people going, oh, another women's Test match, another draw. That wouldn't have been the case here had the rain stayed away, but unfortunately it's just been wet.
It has, and there's nothing you can do about it, but once again we're having the same conversations, Georgia.
Yeah, it's frustrating, isn't it? And I think we worked out in the commentary box in that rain delay that we've almost lost a whole day's play.
That's 100 overs.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, really. So trying to force a result into 3 days is just something that's not going to happen, and it is a shame because it was a fantastic Test match. It's had so many twists and turns, momentum shifts as good Test matches do, and then for it to end in a draw, it just seems like a huge anticlimax.
It does feel like that, and it just feels like, what might have been, because of the 4 days. We've been round and round in circles with this, but because it is 4 days, you have so little wiggle room if you lose any time, and we've seen it's taken a while to get back on, and nothing the ground staff can do.
I think that's the point. If we look at the men's domestic structure, they play 4 days and they do force results. They've played it for a number of years, but quite often if it rains it's a draw. But if you do play the full 4 days, you quite often get a result. And had we had the 4 days here, there may or may not have been a result. There most likely would have been. Men's Test cricket is obviously 5 days. I'd love to see women's Test cricket go to 5 days, purely for the fact, like Georgia said, it gives you more wriggle room. Oh wow, I need to go home.
What pavilion are we in, Alex?
The Marcus Trescothic Pavilion.
Okay, so what have we learnt in this game? Come on, because it hasn't been a wasted exercise at all, because there's been debuts, there have been big scores, real breakthrough performances. Let's start with the performances in the South African first innings. Marizanne Kapp's 150 was sensational.
Yeah, she's one of the best all-rounders in the world, isn't she? I think we've been fortunate today to see this week to see her and Nat Siver on show, two of the best all-rounders in the world, and she was absolutely fantastic. Known probably more for her bowling, I would say, but came out with the bat. Those cover drives were to die for, and she batted beautifully. She got her side out of a hole, and without her that innings really wouldn't have had any sustenance.
Yeah, in terms of England's bowling, Alex, debuts for two fast bowlers replacing two England legends in Brunt and Shrubsole. Izzy Wong, Lauren Bell, how did you rate their performances?
Yeah, I thought they were absolutely brilliant, to be completely honest with you. You going into this Test match, there was a part of me that worried if we were going to miss Brunt and Shrubsole, and to a certain degree we did, because we missed their experience and their tactical knowledge in certain areas. But I think we've seen real potential in Izzy Wong and Lauren Bell, and the way both of them just ran in and bowled their deliveries really well. Wong just trying to hit that top of off and trying to bowl fast and trying to beat the bat, and she did on a number of occasions, and had a few half chances, a drop catch or two, and Lauren Bell with the in swing, but also being able to bowl that bouncer and that ball that is back of a length that can nip back in towards the batter. It was really exciting to see, and I think English cricket moving forward is in a brilliant place.